Some large hail and some gusty winds slamming parts of Oklahoma here. Storm tonight produced a lot of hail, including Oklahoma City. The area seeing some hail up to quarter-size hail, so getting to that severe criteria here. And here's also a look as the storms were coming through in Boynton, Oklahoma as well. You can see the lightning flashing there in the distance in the dark, dark skies as well. It's getting a little bit later in the day at this point, and still, though, you can make out where there's the front edge of that cold air coming out of the storm, and you can see whenever it has that ominous look, Mother Nature's trying to tell you something here. Now we are tracking the same line of storms as it's pushing from the plains into the Mississippi River Valley. So we have our eyes on these cities right here and areas in between. From Dallas over to Arkansas, north even to St. Louis, in fact, all the way up into parts of Illinois and Wisconsin. Heavy rain, damaging wind, hail, and also the threat for tornadoes, possibly happening at nighttime, which comes with its own complications, its own dangers. We want to get right to the latest with what's happening right now with some analysis from storm specialist Carl Parker. And Carl, as you've been tracking, we've been together this last hour, and as you've been tracking these storms, and you've been tracking them for quite some time, has anything surprised you or stood out to you at this time that's either making you a little bit more nervous the way the atmosphere is behaving, or perhaps maybe giving you a little bit of hope?
Well, you know, certainly we're seeing just incredible instability in Oklahoma, in North Texas. So I think it's going to be going strong there for quite some time. Arkansas as well. You get farther to the north here, and we're seeing a lot of the instability being pinched off in that area. So that means things are going to be looking a little bit better. But in the meantime, what we've got here is a couple of warnings to tell you about, including a tornado warning, brand new tornado warning that has just been issued there for Bond and Clinton and Madison counties going until 9:30 Central Time. Let's take a look at the velocity data. So we can see some evidence of a circulation right in there. You know, it's not what I would call the strongest couplet in the world, but certainly there is some evidence of rotation there, and that is going to be moving east, coming towards St. Rose right now, also possibly towards Carlisle or Irishtown or areas near those towns. Possible tornado coming your way, but also a damaging wind threat along with that storm. But you get down into Arkansas and Oklahoma, and you've got a very energetic line here. I mean, just a tremendous area of lightning because you've got so much instability in the atmosphere. And there is some wind shear, too, that's going to be supportive of tornadoes. So there is a tornado warning. And look at this. This is near Clayton right now and just about on top of Clayton. Now, we are a pretty good long ways from the radar. When you get farther away from the radar, you're shooting higher up because the beam's going out straight and the ground is curving away from you. So we're looking up in the mid-levels of the storm, but that's a pretty strong mid-level circulation that is showing up here just west of Clayton. So please get to your safe place right now in Clayton as this moves to the east. Let's get a look at the vector here. And, you know, actually, well, I tell you, that looks like it might be a little bit north of east, to be honest with you, looking at this over the last few minutes. So, you know, it might just pass north of that downtown area of Clayton and into areas that are north of that, maybe not coming right into Clayton proper there, but areas that are on the north side of Clayton. And this does look to be a pretty rural area, but you can get a sense of the vector there. If anything, it looks like it may have taken a little bit of a left turn in just the last couple of frames. So heads up there in Clayton, and especially areas to the north and west of Clayton, possible tornado coming your way. Then as we get up into Arkansas, got an ongoing warning for Johnson County until 9:30. And here as we look at the velocity data, we're seeing a broader spin right in there. It's not a real tight one. It's definitely, you can see it's almost sort of like a curlicue right in there. Definitely broadening out relative to what we were looking at moments ago. And then a brand new tornado warning has just come out to the south of that. Let me get a look at that. And that is a tornado warning in effect for Johnson and Logan counties. So, you know, again, we're looking at And that's interesting because you've got this broader spin that is to the north of that. I think this is the area of greater concern right there near Spadra, and that is moving towards the southeast near Clark's, going to be coming in towards Clarksville, coming towards Garrett and Augsburg as well. So in all of those spots, be prepared for some circulation coming your way and a possible tornado coming your way. But again, right now, at least, it does appear to be broadening out some. Now, much farther south, this is down into southern Oklahoma. This is Carter, Jefferson, and Love counties. This storm has had a history of producing just incredible hail, baseball-size hail, and many, many reports of golf ball-size hail with this storm. That's about ready to cross the Red River, and you can see how this line is beginning to congeal a little bit more. So you've got a line of storms with embedded supercells that will be dropping down into the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, not moving real fast, moving southeast about 20 to 30 miles per hour. But, over the next couple of hours, it's going to be getting into the northern exurbs there of Dallas and Fort Worth. And then beyond that, a couple of hours after that, getting into, say, 11 to 12 o'clock. It's going to start to come through, and we could be looking at all hazards with these storms in Dallas and Fort Worth tonight. Talking about large hail, damaging wind, even possibly some tornadoes. Less of a threat of tornadoes going down through Texas as we go through the overnight hours. It's going to be more wind. Certainly large hail will be possible, but we don't want to rule out tornadoes. That's going to be possible as well, especially some embedded circulations, and some of those supercells may flare up from time to time. Now farther north up into Arkansas and into Missouri, we've been looking at a damaging wind threat here. Severe warning for Mountain Home, Baxton, Marion, and Searcy counties. And then a new warning here. Howell in Texas is the ongoing warning, but then another one to the east of that, Howell, Oregon, and Shannon counties. And we're looking at a really pronounced bow echo here, a big surge, a very strong wind, getting a pretty good ways from the radar. But right there, when you see that backward C shape, man, look out, because we're talking about some very strong wind there, 70-mile-per-hour wind, maybe even stronger at the apex of that bow. That coming towards Chapel, Koshkonong, Alton, Couch, and Bowes Mill. And all of those areas, heads up for 70-mile-per-hour wind coming your way. Chris, over to you.
Hey, Carl, while you're talking, I was watching you track on the radar, but also looking at this Van Buren, Arkansas camera that was below you. And as we've been watching this, a couple of things pointing out or stood out to me as we're scanning around right now, courtesy of the Arkansas Department of Transportation. First off, what we're seeing occasionally, you see the sky lighting up. And it's switching around. It's hard to tell exactly where we are, but where Van Buren is north of Fort Smith. So we're still within the severe thunderstorm warning. However, the bulk of it is going away from this area. And as we're watching it, we're still seeing some of the lightning, and at times it's streaking across the sky. We're seeing it light up and flash, but something else. This is a reminder here. We are in the dark hours, and oftentimes when we're dealing with severe weather, it's the daytime heating that gives you that extra oomph, and as things cool off, things calm down. But that's not necessarily the case at all. Let's take another look from Van Buren, another location here. As we're looking at this, there's enough energy, there's enough moisture in the atmosphere that things are not going to calm down. As we can see right here, more of this is expected. And every once in a while, you see this, when it lights up, you see the roads, which are wet, and you can even see it looks like ponding in the median as well. Another reminder that at night there's a lot more dangers. It's the sky's being lit up by the lightning, but you don't necessarily realize there may be some flooding around, puddles where they're not usually. If there is a tornado, you're not necessarily going to see it coming because it's dark. Every once in a while you get these flashes, but nighttime poses its own dangers, and unfortunately the storms are not going to be calming down just because it is nighttime and the atmosphere typically cools off. Not the case this time. Too much energy in the atmosphere, and nobody knows better than that. Knows that better than meteorologist Mike Seidel, who's live north of here in northwest Arkansas in Fayetteville, where he saw a big storm come through a little bit earlier. Hi, Mike.
Yes, a big one, a windy one, but it was a quick hitter. A little rumble of thunder in the distance, but let's go to the radar. You can see everything now is south and east of here. Just a few leftover light raindrops. They have dropped the tornado watch for here in Washington County as the severe threat has left this part of northwest Arkansas. Peak wind gusts nearby Drake Field, upwards of about 38 miles an hour, up at Northwest Regional Airport XNA, where you fly in and out on the commercial jets. The gusts there, only 26 miles an hour. They had about a half an inch of rain. Want to take you back to exactly an hour ago. It was just after 8 p.m. here in Fayetteville, and look at the wind and the rain. We were standing here for an hour, 2 hours, calm winds, eerie, the birds chirping, and then all of a sudden, right over the hill behind me here in the Ozarks, you could hear the swish and the whoosh, and the wind just ramp up. And in the meantime, as the wind ramped up, certainly did the rain. And it was, it's very similar to being in a squall with a tropical storm. It's raining very, very hard, and winds gusting over 40 miles an hour. That's what I estimated here. I think we were easily over 40 miles an hour. Power outages not too bad so far in Arkansas. We've had about 2,400 nearby Oklahoma, 3,600 up in Missouri. We've had a fair amount of trees down, especially in Greene County, and power outages up there about 9,400 customers. So not horrible power outage wise, Carl. And hopefully we'll get that power back on pretty quickly now that the winds have died down.
Yeah, Mike, we've been talking about the tornado threat all night, and now some new tornado warnings to tell you about in southeastern Oklahoma. Let's take a look at what's going on here. One of those now south of McAllister, and that is for Pittsburgh County going until 9:45. So we see the circulation shooting fairly far up, looking at the mid-levels of the storm, but that is basically moving to the east right now, a little to the south of east. So let's track that forward, and that's going to come down towards Counts in the next few minutes. So heads up there in Counts. Possible tornado coming your way. Then to the east of that, ongoing warning for Pushmataha County until 9:30. Here we're watching a circulation passing just to the north of Clayton. Looking at the vector here, looks like it's just about due east right now. And so let's track that forward. It's going to be coming across Route 271 and coming towards Kiamichi and Albion by about 9:40 or so. Then another tornado warning to the east of that, and that is for LaFleur County, and that's going until 9:45. And here, too, we see a rotation showing up that is near 271. You can see that sort of bright area right there, and then the darker color right next to that. That about ready to cross Route 1. That one moving a little north of east and will be coming near Conser at 9:44 and Hodgen at about 9:51 or so. So in all of these areas, please get to your safe place right now. Also, tornado warnings to tell you about in northwest Arkansas on either side of Interstate 40. One of those in effect for Johnson County. And seeing some spin showing up here near Spadra and sort of a broader circulation now. So, tracking that forward, that's going to be coming down to the south towards Clarksville and coming towards Garrett as well. So heads up for a possible tornado coming your way. Looking to the south of that, this all looks pretty diffuse. To the south of that, I'm not seeing anything that really pops out at this time, but certainly we'll keep a very close eye on that. And then down into southern Oklahoma, I've been watching this little line segment that's now beginning to congeal. And so, as these storms continue to go on for a while, they start to put out a little area of cool air. And, it looks like it's the same storm that's going down, but what's actually happening is you've got new storms firing along that boundary, and that boundary then begins to join storms to each other, and that whole big cold pool becomes the basis for which this line develops. So you can see how this is becoming less individual cells and more of a line of storms coming down across parts of the Red River now, and we've got a warning now in Texas, actually a couple of them, Montague County, warning for ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind. Also warning to the west of that, and that is for Montague County as well for, again, ping pong ball size hail and for very, very large hail. Actually, to the west of that, looking at a warning for Clay County for 60-mile-per-hour wind and quarter size hail. Chris?
Hey, Carl, you're on the southern end of what is a huge line. The meteorologist Sarah Dillingham and I were looking at this, and you take it here, northwest of Dallas, where you were just looking, and you stretch all the way up. These warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, stretching all the way up here, getting into Missouri through parts of Arkansas, with speckled in the tornado warnings. Does this give you any insight to the way the atmosphere is behaving, or does the fact that the sheer length and the size of this, does this tell you anything about what may be coming here in the future? Are there any clues, anything to be learned by just the extent of this one line with all these warnings?
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, when you've got more of a linear convective system, and certainly there have been some individual supercells on the southern side in particular, so that's an area where we've been a little more concerned about large hail and damaging wind. But when you've got those discrete cells, those supercells, they're more capable of producing very large hail and tornadoes. But when you've got a linear convective system, that brings you more of a damaging wind threat. So that's the direction that we're headed in, basically. We're going to continue to see a hail and tornado threat, especially in Oklahoma and parts of Arkansas. But as we go deeper into the evening with more of this linear convective system, it is going to morph into more of a damaging wind threat. That's what's going to come down across Texas and also down into parts of Louisiana, with still some potential for hail and tornadoes, but mostly it's going to be a damaging wind threat. Also notice the instability here. We've talked about this a few times. Instability is basically fuel for thunderstorms, and it's a function of a couple of things. It's low-level warm and humid air, but it's also how the atmosphere changes in temperature as you go up through it, if it gets a lot colder. And so where you've got the greatest instability is where you see the maximum punch up of storms, and you can see in that brighter color there where that is. So that's where storms are really going to be active over the next several hours. We're going to have much more on the severe weather threat coming up.
Not even our competitor's best battery can match the power of Energizer, because Energizer Ultimate Lithium is the longest-lasting AA battery in the world. Energizer, backed by science, matched by no one.
It's best we stay apart for a bit, but that doesn't mean you're in this alone. We're automatically refunding our customers a portion of their personal auto premiums. We're also offering flexible payment options for those who have been financially affected by the crisis. We look forward to returning to something that feels a little closer to life as we knew it. But until then, you can see how we're here to help at libertymutual.com/COVID-19.
This is a payday bar, and there's only one thing you need to know about it. It has a truckload of peanuts surrounding sweet caramel. I mean, holy, look at all those peanuts. Best part is it helps you get through your day. Payday. Get to it.
Hi, I'm Lolly, a Domino's franchisee.
As you can see, we're open and working hard to safely keep putting food on people's tables.
And we could use your help doing that.
If getting some full or part-time work during these tough times could help you,
Domino's is hiring.
Head to jobs.domino's.com
and apply today. Because we're not only committed to putting food on people's tables,
we're committed to helping you put food on your table.
It's the 610 woke up like this migraine medicine. The 340 mid-shift migraine medicine. Introducing Ubrelvy. It's the migraine medicine for any time, anywhere a migraine attacks, without worrying if it's too late or where you happen to be. One dose of Ubrelvy can quickly stop a migraine in its tracks within 2 hours. Many had pain relief in 1 hour. Do not take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors. Few people had side effects. Most common were nausea and tiredness. Ask your provider about Ubrelvy or access doctors from home with telemedicine. Migraines can strike anytime, anywhere. Ubrelvy, the anytime, anywhere migraine medicine.
The King surprised burger fans with a good news call.
I get a double cheeseburger.
Fries?
I get a drink.
For only $3?
that sounds like a win-win-win situation.
Good times are calling with a 3 for $3. Order it on the BK app. Your way. Wait.
Mama. Why do I keep falling asleep during the day? What's making me so tired? I kept asking myself these questions. It felt like I was more than tired. Then I was diagnosed with narcolepsy. There are 5 major symptoms. I waited too long to take action, but you don't have to. Visit morethantired.com now. Take the narcolepsy symptom screener and find a sleep specialist to share your results. Don't wait. Visit morethantired.com today.
No matter how you heat your home, whether it's oil, propane,
or natural gas, count on Petro to deliver. To install new heating equipment.
To come when you call.
24/7, no matter the weather or emergency.
A promise to fix it right with highly trained technicians.
A promise to treat you like family.
And to do whatever it takes to keep your heating system up and running.
That's what makes Petro #1. It's our people and our promise, the Petro promise.
Take advantage of the lowest heating oil prices in years. Call Petro Home Services today.
To get the most out of your mornings, you need to know what weather is heading your way. Wake up watching AMHQ. Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 53 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, a few passing clouds, otherwise generally clear. Low 46. Winds north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday, cloudy, slight chance of a rain shower. High 54. Winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Wednesday night, showers later at night. Low 50. Chance of rain 60%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back. It is a very busy night. We've gotten reports of large hail, baseball-size hail in southern Oklahoma, and also a lot of reports of wind damage, and now a whole series of tornado warnings to tell you about in southeastern Oklahoma. Let's go through them now. These are southeast of McAllister, the latest of them in effect for Pittsburgh and Pushmataha counties until 10 p.m. And so we're seeing some rotation looking pretty far up in the storm, but seeing some rotation showing up now west of Clayton and moving towards the east-southeast. So that'll be coming near Clayton by about 9:42. We had a close call earlier. There's still a little circulation just north of Clayton, and then Neshoba beyond that. Ongoing tornado warning, in fact, near Clayton right now. And just taking a look at what's going on with that. That circulation still there, moving now just to the east at about 20 miles per hour. So that'll be coming towards Kiamichi at about 9:34 or so. Sorry if I butchered that. Here we'll take you into the eastern part of Oklahoma. That's LaFleur County, warning until 9:45. And this is not quite as pronounced of a circulation coming across Route 1 right now, moving a little north of east. That'll be moving towards Conser as well as Hodgen about 9:52 or so. Now, as we get you farther northeast, looking at severe warnings, Johnson, Logan, Yell County, we had been looking at a tornado warning here that has been replaced by a severe warning. Also, a whole series of severe warnings in southern parts of Oklahoma and North Texas. We've been looking at some individual cells here, one of which is now dropping down into Texas right in here, has already produced baseball-sized hail and many, many reports of golf ball-sized hail. Really prolific hail-producing storm. That is getting ever closer to Dallas and Fort Worth, and we think it's going to be a pretty noisy night for you. Damaging wind potential certainly could be very large hail, maybe some tornadoes, and this is going to be extending deep into the evening. So make sure and stay with us. We'll be covering it all night here on the Weather Channel. And then as we take you into Illinois, I want to show you a tornado warning that is ongoing in Clinton County, and we'll look at the velocity data in this case. That is washed out a good bit, not nearly what it was. You go back several frames here, particularly right in there. Look at that. You can see how there was a pretty well-defined little circulation right in this area. And then you look at that, you see the brighter orange color there showing you the stronger wind. And as you go through time, that really then begins to sort of release and sort of wash out. So I think we've got less tornado potential in that area right now. But certainly an ongoing damaging wind threat. Southern Missouri in particular. In fact, there's a brand new warning I want to tell you about that is now into parts of Arkansas, including Clinton. That's Pope and Searcy and Van Buren counties under warning right now. This is moving southeast at 50, could be 60-mile-per-hour wind in this area. Then as we take you north, we've got a warning now for Oregon and Shannon counties. And the concern here for a while now has been 70-mile-per-hour wind. Got a report of 71-mile-per-hour wind measured in West Plains. And that's not a surprise when you look at the shape of this storm. And, unfortunately, we're not getting as good of velocity data right now. But what you can see very clearly is this big backwards C shape right there. And so when you see a shape like that, that is what we call a bow echo, and that's showing you where the wind is surging forward. And so this is that West Plains where we got a report of 71 mile per hour wind. So some ground truth there. And let's see where that's going to be headed in the next few minutes. Winona, certainly, it's coming into Alton right now, into Thayer right now. We'll be moving into Couch at about 9:30, Billmore 9:52, and Van Buren by about 10:02. Very serious damaging wind threat along with these storms as they move to the east now. So this is a look at the watches and a little bit of an update to tell you about. There is now a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for North Texas. That is going until 4 o'clock in the morning. So very deep into this evening. We expect the storms to come down across Dallas and Fort Worth and then drive down 35, drive down 45 as well. Eventually come into the Houston metro, probably in the pre-dawn hours. Could be looking at a very serious damaging wind threat there. And I will tell you that it is going to be primarily a damaging wind threat once it gets out of this area. We've got, the hail and tornado threat is a little bit higher in that area in parts of Oklahoma, as well as into western Arkansas, maybe down into parts of North Texas. But then once the storms get outside of that area, it's going to become more of a damaging wind threat, and that will extend deep into the overnight hours, all through Arkansas towards Memphis, even down into Louisiana as well. Chris, over to you.
Yeah, and another way to look at this, Carl, is to see the areas where it is possible, because you have the watches, and the watches can continue to be issued by the Storm Prediction Center, but we're just highlighting right here the areas where it is possible there will be damaging winds into tonight, or likely or very likely parts of Texas, pretty much all of Louisiana, even into Mississippi and all the way up into Illinois and Indiana. Some damaging winds a possibility. Carl just showed us all of the different watches we have, but on top of that, you can see the potential for wind gusts to be up to around 70, 75, or 80 miles an hour with these storms. And that's important to think about because of what those winds can do. Now, if winds are up into the 58 to 74 mile an hour range, we're talking about limbs breaking, large limbs breaking. Some of the shallow rooted trees can be knocked over, and semi trucks. That's strong enough for semi trucks to come down and be blown over. And then the potential, which we're in, 75 to 80 mile an hour range, roof damage, widespread tree damage. Weak structures may have some significant damage as well. Some of the outbuildings or homes that aren't built very well. And again, here's another look at those winds, 70, 75, possibly 80 miles an hour. And again, this associated with a big line of storms stretching more than 500 miles just this section. We have you covered here on the Weather Channel.
Hold my pouch. Trust us. Us kids are ready to take things into our own hands. Don't think so? Hold my pouch.
When we face adversity, we find a way through it. It's about taking care of each other. It's the small parts that make a big difference. At Chevy, we promise to do ours. We're offering current Chevy owners OnStar Crisis Assist services and complimentary Wi-Fi data. To help keep you on the road, the Chevy Certified Service Experts are here and ready to help if you require parts, maintenance, or repairs. You can even schedule your service appointments online. It's just our way of doing our part.
At Papa John's, we want you to know that from our 450-degree oven to box to you, it's our policy that your pizza is never touched once it comes out of the oven. And we're taking extra steps like no contact delivery to ensure it.
What does it mean to be a good neighbor?
It means being there for each other.
And that's why State Farm is announcing the Good Neighbor Relief Program.
We know that our customers are driving less, which means fewer accidents.
So State Farm's returning $2 billion to auto policyholders for the period ending May 31st.
And we'll continue making real-time decisions to best serve you, our customers.
Because now, more than ever, being a good neighbor means everything. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
What average underwear feels like. What Duluth Buck Naked underwear feels like. Duluth Trading Buck Naked underwear. Get the most comfortable underwear there is. Only at DuluthTrading.com.
You wouldn't accept an incomplete job from anyone else. Why accept it from your allergy pills? Flonase Sensimist. Nothing stronger, nothing gentler, nothing lasts longer. Flonase Sensimist. 24-hour non-drowsy allergy relief.
Active tornado warnings in effect.
I wasn't sure that I was going to walk away from the situation.
There just went a house. The roof just get ripped off. We're under fire.
When that came down, I yelled, I don't want to drown in the store.
Guys, we've got cars floating again.
Oh my God.
Truly, it was the scariest moment of my life.
Don't miss the premieres of World's Deadliest Weather and Deadline to Disaster, Sunday night, only on the Weather Channel.
Whew.
Lightning and the thunder. Tonight's storms lighting up the skies in Oklahoma and across parts of Arkansas and Missouri, moving into Texas now. Lightning is going to be a huge danger. Of course, being indoors is one of the benefits of nighttime thunderstorms is you have a less likely chance of being struck by lightning. But of course, now during the overnight hours, there are other threats and some bigger concerns, in fact, with some of the severe weather that happens at night. Of course, you may want to be sleeping with storms that may be an hour, maybe 2 hours away from where you are right now. But you need to make sure if you have to go to sleep and get a little bit of shut-eye, maybe set your alarm before the storm's about to arrive, or make sure you are able to get woken up by some sort of alert, whether it's a NOAA weather radio or if it is your device, your personal device, your phone that has the warnings on there. All the alerts you can activate those. You have to make sure that you can hear it too, that you're set up properly for that. So just a heads up here, as we are continuing to track that severe weather threat, and storm specialist Carl Parker is in the lab looking at some of the latest watches and warnings. But these warnings, Carl, severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings right now, all active with no sign of it letting up anytime soon.
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to be in this period where we see all hazards, where we're going to be looking at damaging wind and a tornado and a hail threat. That is going to change through the overnight hours. It's going to become more of a damaging wind threat than anything else, with those hazards remaining, those other hazards remaining. But right now in southeastern Oklahoma, getting some tornado warnings and also reports of very large hail. I'll show you that in just a moment here. Tornado warning in effect for Pushmataha County. That is going until 10 o'clock Central Time. And unfortunately, we're in what is called a radar hole. We're a good long ways from any of the radar sites. So we'll just do with what we've got. And you can see there is a circulation there that is near Eubanks. It's going to be coming into Eubanks about 9:41 or so, and then coming towards Findlay as well. There's a brand new scan there. I'm going to move that forward just a little bit to get a better sense of that. So coming towards Eubanks here in the next few minutes, and then coming towards Findlay at 9:58 and cloudy by about 10:24 or so, looking at pretty strong mid-level circulation with that storm. Then to the north of that, another tornado warning for Pushmataha County until 10 o'clock. In this case, it's been a little bit more difficult to pick out circulation in the last few minutes. You can see initially where there was one. Actually, there were a couple. There was one near Clayton and then another one up here. And then you go through this in time, this velocity data, and you can see how there's still a one that is near Clayton there. It's broader. It's right in there. And look, they've just changed that. So that certainly fits with what we're looking at right now. So that is where there's a current hazard for a tornado near 271 and moving down to the southeast. Fuel a possible tornado coming your way, and that again is near 271 right now. Also to the north of that, LaFleur County under warning until 9:45, and here too, as we look at the velocity data, you can see where there was a pretty well-defined circulation near Talihina, right in there near 271. And that has really washed out in just the last few frames here. But I do want to show you some of these hail reports that we've seen from these storms as they've been coming through. I mean, they really are remarkable in some cases. We're talking about exceptionally large hail. There's 1-inch hail, but look at that, Haleyville, 2.8-inch hail. That is baseball-size hail. That will definitely destroy your car. And then near Wilburton, also a report of 1.3-inch hail. So again, Chris, looking at a tornado, hail, and wind threat that's going to be changing as we get deeper into the evening. Over to you.
All right, Carl, we do have some new video coming into the Weather Channel right now showing just that, some hail, but also one of the more serene items that can happen here with severe weather, and that's the rainbow. So rainbow with hail. That's what we're looking at here in Oklahoma, and we continue to watch storms pound. We're not going to see this site now that it's dark, but that hail threat will continue into the overnight hours. These areas right here going into tonight, where it's possible we could see hail 1 inch or greater. And if Carl was just talking about, we've already seen hail that is 1 inch or greater. All of these different spots is where hail has been reported. As we take a look at a couple of these spots here, here's 1.8 inches. So that's just a little bit larger than a golf ball. 1.75 inches is a golf ball. That's how big this hail. Imagine this chunk of ice falling out of the sky. So talking about some big time hail. Then how about this in Central High here in Oklahoma, 2.8 inches, 2.75 is the size, as Carl mentioned, of a baseball. Imagine a piece of ice this big coming out of the sky. That's what you're dealing with here in this part of Oklahoma. So some large hail, the best threat or the greatest risk for some of that large hail, typically in April, are these areas right here, and that is exactly where we're seeing it as that threat continues during the overnight.
We love the new apartment.
The natural light is amazing.
Hardwood floors.
There is a bit of a clogging problem.
At least Geico makes it easy to bundle our renters and car insurance.
Yeah, helping us save even more.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
I wanted more from my COPD medicine. That's why I've got the power of 1, 2, 3 medicines with Trelegy.
The only FDA-approved once daily 3-in-1 COPD treatment.
Trelegy, the power of 1, 2, 3. Trelegy, 1, 2, 3. Trelegy.
With Trelegy and the power of 1, 2, 3, I'm breathing better. Trelegy works 3 ways to open airways, keep them open, and reduce inflammation for 24 hours of better breathing.
Trelegy won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Trelegy is not for asthma. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Do not take Trelegy more than prescribed. Trelegy may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur.
Think your COPD medicine is doing enough? Maybe you should think again.
Ask your doctor about once daily Trelegy and the power of 1, 2, 3.
Trelegy, 1, 2, 3.
Save at Trelegy.com.
How do you think they make Starburst taste so juicy?
Starburst? Juice-Dradic equation. Super top secret mathematical formula they keep stored inside a safe, inside a vault, inside a volcano.
Oh, Juice-Dradics.
Starburst, unexplainably juicy.
It's a challenging market. Edward Jones is well aware of that.
which is why we're ready to listen and ready to help you find opportunity.
So, let's talk.
Edward Jones, it's time for investing to feel individual.
At Papa John's, we want you to know that from our 450-degree oven to box to you, it's our policy that your pizza is never touched once it comes out of the oven. And we're taking extra steps like no contact delivery to ensure it.
When our daughter and her kids moved in with us, our bargain detergent couldn't keep up.
Turns out it's mostly water.
So we switched back to Tide. One wash, stains are gone.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. It's gotta be Tide.
Oh, this is gonna hit town!
Inside the storm, every second counts. Deadline to Disaster premieres Sunday night on the Weather Channel.
Welcome back to our coverage of severe weather. A very dangerous night in parts of Texas and Oklahoma, Arkansas, and up into Missouri as well. Even Illinois getting in on some of these strong and severe storms. And right now we're watching 3 tornado warnings in parts of Oklahoma. One of those now in effect for Push-Mataha County until 10 o'clock Central Time. This is unfortunately in an area where the radar coverage is not great. And it looks like our signature is not quite as well defined as it was moments ago, but right in there, look at that. That's a pretty strong mid-level circulation that was showing up right there. And just in the last couple of frames, it's not quite as pronounced here. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and track that out and see where that's going to be headed. Moving to the south-southeast, coming into Eubanks right about now. Wadena, 9:42, snow at about 10:01 or so. Brand new frame there. I'm going to move this out of the way. And again, it looks like it continues to not be as well formed as it was moments ago. Same story here with this one to the north. Again, Push-Mataha County, that is near Clayton. Not nearly as well defined as it was earlier here. You can see just a little bit of circulation showing up right around 271 earlier, and that does appear to have really broadened out at this time. And then also we're watching another tornado warning here. And by the way, a terrific amount of lightning. Look at that. That is 2,000 strikes just there in southeast Oklahoma. So a highly electrical line of storms now coming through. And a new tornado warning to tell you about in the far southeastern part of the state, and that is McCurtain County under warning until 10:15. Let's look at what's going on here. Again, unfortunately, that sort of limited radar data, so it's really difficult to get a good look at the storm. So let's just go ahead and track the entire thing out and take that farther east. And that's going to be, it looks like coming into mostly rural areas here near Broken Bow, but maybe eventually towards Mineral as that moves along towards the east. So a pretty rural area of southeastern Oklahoma. Now, we've got storms that are dropping down into North Texas right now. And, you know, one thing that we can say about these is they've got this, you know, unlimited supply of fuel, of very warm and humid air available along with some colder air aloft. And that's going to keep these storms going as they drop down through Dallas and Fort Worth. Right now, they're pushing southeast at about 40 miles per hour. We've got a hail and a wind threat. We've seen really significant hail in southern Oklahoma, as large as baseball size. Probably not going to be quite that big as it comes down into Dallas. It's going to be deeper into the evening, but it's still going to be a heck of a line of storms with a lot of lightning, very strong wind, certainly could be large hail, and we can't rule out tornadoes as well. We're going to see less of a tornado threat as we get deeper into the evening, but it is likely going to be a really active night there in Dallas and Fort Worth. And in fact, I want to show you how this plays out on one of our high-resolution models. And so we'll take this into the next couple of hours. Here we go into 11 o'clock Central Time, and you see the storms continuing to drop southward there. You know, I think this model actually might be a little bit behind relative to what's happening right now. There we go into midnight Central Time, and you see the storms coming right through the Dallas area. Mostly a line of storms, mostly a damaging wind threat, but some embedded supercells within that potentially. So certainly could be some very large hail and maybe even some tornadoes. And that, Chris, then continues to press down towards the Arklatex and Shreveport. And the storms going all night long there in eastern Texas and also in Louisiana. Over to you.
Tornado sirens going off as a tornado-warned storm rolled through Tulsa, Oklahoma just a few hours ago. Hail the size of golf balls. Also heavy rain and intense lightning. And the scene in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, as that line of storms rolled through. They also picked up some large hail the size of golf balls. Some intense rain and winds gusting over 50 miles an hour. So that severe weather threat does continue, and we are expecting to see more of the strong storms, as Carl was just showing us. That line sagging to the south, or marching, if you will, to the south with very likely expectations for severe weather, and it's imminent in many spots with those severe thunderstorm warnings. It is about to happen, but as Carl mentioned, this might be a little behind the game going forward here, but you get the general sense that storms are on the way, maybe a little bit earlier than this, but we're going to see up to before midnight and possibly even after midnight, depending on where you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. These storms are expected to come through and roll through. So best bet, just stick with us, and we'll continue to track the radar, and we'll continue to time it out the best we can. And this will be updated as well throughout the course of the evening. So we'll continue to show you the latest in the timing. Texarkana also around midnight, maybe afterwards. Shreveport and Bossier City are right in the middle of the night. The dark morning hours going through this part of Louisiana and the Arklatex. Here's Houston and Galveston over to Beaumont. 10 o'clock this evening, again, Central Time going through. Now 1, here's 2 o'clock, these storms marching through, and even the future radar picking up on a little bit of a bow. So the damaging winds certainly going to be one of the things to watch. Again, Houston over to Galveston, possibly before daybreak. So we're looking at an overnight, first thing in the morning. Storms maybe not even getting all the way through until after sunrise, and maybe even mid-morning. So these storms come in with a pretty big punch of potentially damaging winds and some very heavy rain. Here is Memphis. It is going to be after midnight, it looks like, for these storms to be marching through.
It's a challenging market. Edward Jones is well aware of that, which is why we're ready to listen and ready to help you find opportunity.
So let's talk.
Edward Jones, it's time for investing to feel individual.
Buick and GMC are here to help. For our customers, that means helping you stay at home. That's why we've made it possible for you to shop online with Shop Click Drive, and you may even be able to schedule your certified service appointment online from home. For our healthcare professionals who are doing so much to keep us safe, we are introducing a special discount to thank you for all that you do. These are unprecedented times. Buick and GMC are here to help.
Yeah?
I fell.
Okay, there's bandages in the cabinet.
I'm bleeding.
Grab 2.
Sheba, what cats want.
There's just nothing better than a plate of Mama's famous pasta. Her recipe, top secret.
Michelina's. Let Mama feed you.
I'm your mother-in-law, and I like to question your every move, like this left turn.
It's the next one.
You always drive this slow.
How did you make someone I love?
That must be why you're always so late.
I do not speed, and that's saving me cash with DriveWise.
You always drive like an old lady?
You're an old lady.
I'm Greg. I'm 68 years old. I do motivational speaking in addition to the substitute teaching. I honestly feel that that's my calling, to give back to younger people. I think most adults will start realizing that they don't recall things as quickly as they used to, or they don't remember things as vividly as they once did. I've been taking Prevagen for about 3 years now. People say to me periodically, man, you got a memory like an elephant. It's really, really helped me tremendously.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
What time is it? Game time!
I will not choose to play for another coach.
They developed a tension between them.
This will be Phil's last year as the coach of the Bulls.
In Phil fashion, he had a name for it.
I called it the last dance.
Washing my hands, sometimes hundreds of times a day, made the cracks worse.
We're constantly washing our hands to maintain a sanitary condition so your hands are always rough.
Try O'Keeffe's Working Hands. It's America's #1 hand cream for guaranteed relief of dry, cracked hands.
Last.
Is that coming this way? Active tornado warnings in effect.
I wasn't sure that I was going to walk away from this situation.
There just went a house. The roof just get ripped off. We're under fire.
When that came down, I yelled, I don't want to drown in the storm.
Guys, we've got cars floating again.
Oh my God.
Truly, it was the scariest moment of my life.
Don't miss the premieres of World's Deadliest Weather and Deadline to Disaster, Sunday night, only on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 52 degrees under clear skies. Tonight, a few passing clouds, otherwise generally clear. Low 46. Winds north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday, cloudy, slight chance of a rain shower. High 54. Winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Wednesday night, showers later at night. Low 50. Chance of rain 60%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
How about this? After the storms coming through, the scene in Tulsa as the storms move through, happening at sunset, which tends to happen quite a bit here when we talk about storms, but a beautiful view of mammatus clouds. It's the air going way up into the atmosphere, hitting a level of equilibrium and then spreading out, and there's a little bit of sinking going on. So the clouds in this case are sort of getting that cool shape by reverse, a little bit of sinking, and it gets these pouches, that pouch look, and they have a very almost polished look to them when you see them in person. I think this video is also doing a pretty good job of showing you too. And then on top of that, happening at sunset, so just a little bit of pink or orange, depending on your vantage point and your camera at the time. A beautiful scene there, and you just hope that it comes with no result of any injury or damage after some of these storms. And these storms packing a pretty big punch, with more video here into the Weather Channel as the storms were moving through and approaching Broken Arrow here in Oklahoma. A little bit of lightning off in the distance, turbulent skies out ahead. These storms have been meaning business, and they continue to mean business here. So cities across the South can expect another dose of some storms as well while we're dealing with the plains right now. And there you go, looking up at that, more mammatus clouds. So heads up here. If you live in New Orleans, you've been dealing with some strong storms lately, a lot of thunderstorms, and Atlanta eventually going to have to deal with the possibility of more heavy rain and thunderstorms for the middle part of the week. So we're going to take a look at that threat for these areas tomorrow, but we got to get through tonight first. And here's what we're dealing with right now. A big line, a lot of heavy rain still moving through here in Illinois and then into parts of Missouri, into Arkansas. There's a little break in the, it looks like kind of a chain link with severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings mixed in. So there's a couple here, a little bit of a break, and then stretching through this part of Arkansas into Oklahoma and Texas. We're going to start with a couple of tornado warnings right now. And here in Oklahoma, this tornado warning is in effect until 10 o'clock. This is in the far southeast portion of the state here, north of Antlers, Findlay, Cloudy, Corinne, and Burwell, in line with this in the coming minutes. And here, McCurtain County until 10:15 here in Oklahoma. This tornado warning again in effect here with severe thunderstorm warnings all around. Right in here is the most likely location for that circulation. So as it is moving in this direction, generally to the east, northeasterly direction, getting to Mineral around 10:08, somewhere in there. So take cover now. And then the severe weather threat with damaging winds here, extending all the way up into Arkansas. Here's Little Rock right here, Hot Springs, Russellville right now. You're dealing with some nasty weather at the moment. So severe thunderstorm warning here, a whole stretch of them. And you can see associated with this line, this is going to be moving through the next couple of hours. Bouncing back down here. Here's Dallas. Here's Fort Worth. The storms getting over the Oklahoma border, moving through the Red River Valley right now with a lot of lightning associated with these storms. And there's quite a bit of instability. So you can think of instability, the warmth and all of the humidity as like the high octane fuel that we're dealing with. A lot of pinks and reds and yellows and oranges in here. And we're seeing some of these storms. What happens with some of these storms? Sometimes it can rob some of the energy out of this. And then as we look at what's going on for tomorrow, there's going to be limited moisture, but still enough as this cold front comes through with the moisture coming up from the south that we are expecting to see some of these stronger winds potentially bringing some severe weather. So these are the areas right here where we do have the chance for seeing some of the stronger storms during the day tomorrow. Again, this does include New Orleans. This does include Atlanta. You are in that threat area right now. So cities across parts of the South, you can expect that threat for severe weather. We took a look a little bit earlier, a live look at Atlanta and New Orleans. And this is the scene right now. Calm night for you in Atlanta. We've had some storms in South Louisiana. But again, that severe weather threat is picking up again tomorrow for these areas. It also extends up into eastern Tennessee, South Carolina, even parts of Florida as well. It's possible we're going to see some severe weather. So here's Atlanta and the timing for you getting into the afternoon. A few showers possible, some thunderstorms, a bigger punch likely coming through during the evening, 4 or 5 o'clock. And then it's not necessarily a one and done kind of a deal. Stronger line possibly coming through after sunset for you in Atlanta. A bigger view here. That big line comes through New Orleans early in the day. So you're kind of getting a couple doses here. You're seeing it in South Louisiana. Now the whole mess here across Alabama and Georgia, moving through and into the Carolinas during the overnight hours, the late night into the overnight hours as this marches offshore. Now we're into Thursday afternoon before this system gets all the way offshore. So on Thursday, parts of Central Florida, portions of the Carolinas also in that threat area. So here on the Weather Channel, we continue to track this right here. Storm specialist Carl Parker and myself are going to be with you for the next couple of hours, tracking severe thunderstorm warnings that are approaching the Dallas-Fort Worth area right now. Also Little Rock, you're in line. The Arklatex here, Oklahoma, down into Dallas, and then over into parts of Arkansas, and then eventually through the rest of the South. We'll be right back.
When our daughter and her kids moved in with us, our bargain detergent couldn't keep up.
Turns out it's mostly water.
So we switched back to Tide. One wash, stains are gone.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. It's gotta be Tide.
We see some pretty extreme weather here in Iceland. Blizzards all winter. Winds at 150 miles per hour. If the roads aren't cleared, people can't get anywhere. But no matter how crazy it gets, we know when and where to get to work. Data on the IBM cloud helps us maintain 8,000 miles of roads across the country. It helps keep millions of our visitors and our own families safe.
And Doug.
Give me your hand! I can save you! Lots of money with Liberty Mutual. We customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Now, more than ever, her love keeps you centered. Show her how much she means to you with a gift from the Center of Me collection. Happy Mother's Day from Kay.
snap, drops, fakes, throws right on the drops it. Oh, that's gonna hurt. No, the stuff that nightmares are made of. Wow.
Hey, Boston. Hey, Atlanta. Hola, Miami.
Local Now is here for you.
Hi, New York. Hey, LA. Chicago.
To get you through life's new normal.
Hey, America.
Trust me, you're going to love this. Come on.
2 tablespoons of sugar.
But kind of near average on.
This is the place to be.
Something for everyone. Local Now. Download for free in your favorite app store.
When the present is unpredictable, it's important to stay focused on the future. Personalized, goal-based financial advice can help you navigate today while still staying on track for your long-term financial goals tomorrow. At Ameriprise Financial, that's what we've done for over 125 years, and what our advisors will continue to do for generations to come. Ameriprise Financial.
With Dish, you get the Hopper. It lets you record up to 16 shows at once.
See you in the morning. Okay, bye, sounds great.
Because more shows can help you make the most of the perfect girls' night in.
Dish. Tuned in to you.
That's the sound of some hail, and you can see the hail the storms have brought tonight here, and seeing some reports from some pretty big hail. Here, though, just about up to about quarter-size hail for the Boomer Sooner here, and storms have been rolling through parts of Oklahoma, and now marching still in Oklahoma. This was in Oklahoma City earlier, though, when it was still daylight, but now during the dark hours here, we're starting to see more of this. This also before the sun had gotten all the way down below the horizon, so still enough light to see this storm approaching. And it looks like we've got ourselves a time lapse here. You can see how fast the cars are moving along, but you can also get a sense of the direction that this storm is going. It's approaching the camera, and that cold air coming out with the warm air rising up and over, creating that shelf look to the cloud and that turbulent motion underneath the clouds, those dark skies overhead, promising an ominous experience with Mother Nature here in Boynton, Oklahoma. Now we are still watching this same line of storms as it is pushing from the plains now into the Mississippi River Valley, and we're talking pretty soon here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, through Arkansas, and even as far north as the St. Louis area and areas east there of St. Louis. We're watching for more heavy rain, damaging wind, large hail, and a threat still somewhat for some dangerous nighttime tornadoes. We want to get back now to storm specialist Carl Parker, who's in the lab. And I know, Carl, you've been analyzing these individual storms, tracking the overall progression of the atmosphere and the way these storms are going. Over the past couple of hours, as you've been looking at this, anything stood out to you, or are you adjusting your thinking on the way things have been evolving over time here?
Well, I think a lot of it is playing out as the models have suggested. We've had some, initial very strong supercells with tornadoes and also with a very large hail threat, and that is gradually going to morph into more of a damaging wind threat. We're going to see a big, long line of storms continuing to press southward down into Texas and through Arkansas and eventually into Louisiana as well. But we still do have some tornado warnings to tell you about in southeastern Oklahoma. One of those now in effect for Pushmataha County going until 10 o'clock. Honestly, looking at the velocity data here, not seeing a lot of evidence of circulation right now. And look at that. You see that it has just dropped off there, so they did not decide to extend that. There is now a new tornado warning that is just to the west of the old one, McCurtain County. That's going until 10:45. So you've got two here. You've got one, that smaller one, and then another one from McCurtain County right there. Let's take a look at the velocity data and see what's showing up here. Unfortunately, this is a radar hole. It's really difficult to see, but before we lost the image there, you could very clearly see a strong circulation right there. This is in a largely rural area, but let's track it out nonetheless, see where that might be headed. If we've still got a tornado at that time, maybe it makes its way towards Wicks by about 10:37. Then let's take a look at this next one that is just off to the north here, and going forward on that, big surge of wind there. It looks like a little bit of a notch has developed right along the leading edge of that. And again, the radar data is not real clear, but taking that forward, that coming into Mount Herman right now, and then moving down towards Route 70 beyond that. So ongoing, very dangerous storms here in southeast Oklahoma. And look at the lightning here, 1,700 strikes for just this section of storms that is coming through southeastern Oklahoma right now. Now, all this weather, as we've been talking about, is on its way for Dallas and Fort Worth, and that is starting to happen now. So we've got a warning in effect here to the north of the Metroplex, Cook and Denton and Wise counties under warning for 70-mile-per-hour wind. I want to show you the velocity data. Look at that, a very strong wind now coming down there. Looking at some of these deeper blue colors, that's a few thousand feet off the ground. Let's take a look at what kind of velocities we're talking about here. And I mean, they are up there. When you get into that color, you're looking at some very strong, that's a 78-mile-per-hour wind inbound, coming down just west of 35 and moving south at, I believe, about 40 miles per hour. I'll double check that. Moving now at 35 miles per hour. So let's take that forward and see who that's going to be affecting here in the next few minutes. Big, very strong surge of wind. And there's a brand new scan there. I'm going to redraw that since we just got that new scan. Actually looks like it's gotten a little bit stronger just in the last couple of minutes. Look at that, west of Valley View. Let's see what kind of wind we're talking about here. Wow, that's an inbound velocity of 91 miles per hour. Now, that is several thousand feet off the ground. That's not exactly what's happening at the ground, but that is a terrific amount of wind that's occurring off the ground. And so as at least a major part of that is transferred down to the ground, we could easily be talking about 70-mile-per-hour wind. Maybe even getting into some 80-mile-per-hour winds. So I'm going to run this back just a second so we can get a sense of the vector here. That is just about due south, maybe just a little east of due south. And let's go ahead and track this out one more time. Looking at the leading edge of it, dropping southward and towards Denton. So that's going to be coming towards Valley View. Very short order here, just another few minutes. Sanger at 10:17, Crum at 10:23, and Ponder at 10:30. And again, we're talking about 70-mile-per-hour wind here, straight line wind, and maybe even stronger than that in some spots as we're seeing some exceptional velocities off the ground. Now, taking a little farther west, got some other warnings to tell you about as well. One of those for Jack and Young counties, looking at the possibility of some very large hail there. Also, Jack and Montague or Montague County and Wise County. That's going towards the south, now at about 35 miles per hour. Golf ball size hail with that cell, and we're concerned about golf ball size hail along with the cells farther to the west. And you can see these hail cores. One of those hail cores now just about ready to come into Jacksboro. So heads up, could be some golf ball size hail on the way for you. Another one of those hail cores is now just west of Bowie. So these are certainly some very mean storms, and they're going to be coming across the Metroplex primarily with a wind and hail threat, not as much of a tornado threat, but there certainly could be tornado warnings as it comes down and across Dallas and Fort Worth. And speaking of that, got a brand new tornado warning to tell you about just northwest of Little Rock. Let's zoom in on that. This is a tornado warning coming towards Conway, Perry, and Polk counties under warning until 10:45. Kind of noisy data here, but you can see the little dog leg that's sitting right in there near Interstate 40. That's where the possible tornado is, and that's coming right down Interstate 40, coming towards Kenwood right now. Get to your safe place right now in Kenwood. Morrilton, 10:19 or so. Plumerville, 10:32, and Menifee at 10:43. I'm going to make sure that we've got the right vector on this. Looks like that's about right. And let's also double check the forward motion on the storm, moving east now at 40 miles per hour. So actually, I'm going to change this speed on this very quickly. We've had a lot of different motions on the south side of all this. The motions have been as slow as 20 miles per hour, on the north side as much as 55. So we've actually got a motion of 40 here. That's taking it into Morrilton at 10:12, into Plumerville at 10:20, and Menifee at 10:28. Possible tornado coming your way. You can see the circulation showing up there There's a brand new scan, and this is actually pretty impressive right there. We're in some sort of poor radar coverage, but that's a pretty impressive signature. Let's also see if there's any evidence of debris. Not seeing that at this time, but we're shooting way up here, so you'd be talking about a really terrific tornado to put debris that high up into the atmosphere. But that is, as I mentioned, a well-defined circulation there coming towards Marlton. So please get to your safe place right now, as we've got a possible tornado coming your way. Then outside of that, we're looking at severe thunderstorm warnings. And, this is not very far away from Little Rock, moving towards the southeast. Let's just do a larger area of timing to get a sense of when this may come into Little Rock. And going all along the leading edge here, it's primarily, as I mentioned, going to be a damaging wind threat, but there certainly can be circulations that develop within that. And at this point, that's probably coming into Conway at about 10:34 and getting into Little Rock in just a little bit over an hour or so, with some very strong wind potentially. I think we're looking at mostly winds of 60 miles per hour, the warnings right now, but certainly we have seen some even stronger winds on the north side of all of this, particularly as you get up towards the Missouri state line there. Speaking of which, we'll go up there and we see an ongoing severe warning near Lick Mountain. Also some severe warnings not very far away from Poplar Bluff. That's Carter and Ripley counties under warning. So heads up in Poplar Bluff. We've got some potentially strong wind coming your way. 60-mile-per-hour wind is the threat there. So looking at the watches, these are going for quite some time, deep into the overnight hours, Chris, as there's plenty of instability, especially in Texas and Louisiana. And so we expect that these storms are going to be really strong right until the sun comes up tomorrow morning. Back to you.
All right, Carl, with several warnings to track right now, Carl's going to dive in a little bit deeper while we check in with what it was like to be in some of these storms. We're going to go to northwest Arkansas. That's where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel in Fayetteville with a look at the conditions there.
Severe warned thunderstorms rolled through northwest Arkansas on Tuesday evening. Here in Fayetteville, the impact was minimal, but it was rather rambunctious for about 15 minutes right after 8 p.m. Take a look as the squall line moved through. The wind picked up coming out of the Ozarks right across town here on the southwest side. Estimating the wind gusts here about 40 to 45 miles an hour. Nearby Drake Field gusted to 38, but up at Northwest Regional Airport only gusting to 26 miles an hour, picking up about a half an inch of rain. One thing we noticed was the amount of lightning. Look at this, almost continuous flashes of lightning overhead, and this went on for about 15 or 20 minutes. Now, there were some bolts that came down pretty close, but just a lot of lightning in the sky as this squall line rolled through. We were under a severe thunderstorm warning, but no reports of any damage, at least in the immediate Fayetteville area at this point. Leftover rain showers for the next hour or so, and then after that, skies clear up. It's going to be a nice day on Wednesday. Sunny skies, cooler than average, mid-60s. And for the rest of the week, a warming trend back to 80 on Friday. Next chance of any storms in this part of the state, northwest Arkansas, the Ozarks, not until late Saturday and Saturday night.
All right, thank you so much, Mike. And right now on this night here in Memphis, the threat for storms does remain here. Southwestern Tennessee under a flood advisory as well, and there's a slight risk for some severe storms tonight. And with that, if we've been talking about, you're included in the possibility of seeing some damaging winds out of this. Can't rule out some large hail and still a possible tornado spin up here with this line of storms as we're watching it move across parts of Arkansas right now. By midnight, this is where that line should be roughly, give or take here, some miles. Memphis, then eventually right after midnight. So, just a big heads up. I'd say even around 11, before 11 through about 1 o'clock in the morning. Certainly a time to watch and be alert that these storms could be lasting with the lightning going for quite some time with a few showers lingering in the morning. So for this evening here for Dallas and Fort Worth and some of the other areas, again, Carl mentioned this earlier, and I think this is a little bit behind the game here, but we're going to be here live tracking these storms as it does roll through Dallas. And the way we've been seeing things is sort of like a 1-2 punch in some cases. The the winds coming in with some storms in one direction, and then the line comes through. So we're going to see possibly a quick 1-2 hit for some areas here as we continue to track the storms moving through the Arklatex as well. Here's Shreveport and Bossier City, your Texarkana, East Texas, including Marshall there. And we'll put this into motion through the nighttime hours, the morning dark hours, if you will. Here's 2 o'clock in the morning, and things likely rocking in a big way here across portions of northwest Louisiana. There's that bow feature that is so often indicative of and representative of some very strong winds associated with this. Now we'll look at Houston. There's Galveston, Beaumont here in Texas as well. These storms coming through, possibly arriving before daybreak, if not right at daybreak or shortly thereafter in the Houston and Galveston area. And as we continue to watch these areas here in South Louisiana, we jumped ahead. Now it's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Also, here's Baton Rouge by about 7 o'clock. So also another around daybreak kind of a deal, or mid-morning or early afternoon. Want to go back now to storm specialist Carl Parker with a look at this threat, at how things are developing here, Carl.
Yeah, and Chris, we're watching a very active line now coming down across parts of North Texas as well as into southeast Oklahoma. Let's take a look at some of the warnings in Oklahoma, first of all, including the tornado warning that is in effect in the far southeastern part of the state, McCurtain County. This cell now moving southeast at 70 miles per hour. So heads up in Cheatham, a possible tornado coming your way. A lot of lightning with this, too. Look at that. That is 2,400 strikes there in southeastern parts of Oklahoma as well as southwestern Arkansas. Down into North Texas, a very strong cell now across the 35 corridor. Could be some 70-mile-per-hour wind along with this. Cook, Denton, and Wise counties under warning until 11 p.m. Every once in a while you get a really good look at the wind that is coming in, if it's coming right down the radial, as we say, towards the radar. And, in this case, we certainly are getting a really good look at what's going on with the wind here. That's an inbound velocity of 78 miles per hour. That's off the ground a little ways, but certainly we could be talking about 70-mile-per-hour wind, and that is dropping towards the southeast right now, coming towards Crum at 10:23, Stony at 10:29, and Denton at 10:33. So some exceptionally strong straight line wind moving down into these areas. We'll have more on this coming up in just a few minutes.
I wanted more from my COPD medicine. That's why I've got the power of 1, 2, 3 medicines with Trelegy. The only FDA-approved once daily 3-in-1 COPD treatment.
Trelegy, the power of 1, 2, 3. Trelegy, 1, 2, 3. Trelegy.
With Trelegy and the power of 1, 2, 3, I'm breathing better. Trelegy works 3 ways: to open airways, keep them open, and reduce inflammation for 24 hours of better breathing.
Trelegy won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Trelegy is not for asthma. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Do not take Trelegy more than prescribed. Trelegy may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur.
Think your COPD medicine is doing enough? Maybe you should think again. Ask your doctor about once daily Trelegy and the power of 1, 2, 3.
Trelegy, 1, 2, 3.
Save at Trelegy.com.
Fine. No one leaves the table till you're finished.
Fine. We'll sleep here.
It's the easiest because it's the cheesiest. Kraft for the win-win.
Yeah, I'm married. Does it matter? You do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Hey, do they ever ask you what you're wearing?
Yeah.
Red sweater, button-down shirt. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, I'm Lolly, a Domino's franchisee.
As you can see, we're open and working hard to safely keep putting food on people's tables.
And we could use your help doing that.
If getting some full or part-time work during these tough times could help you.
Domino's is hiring.
Head to jobs.domino's.com
And apply today. Because we're not only committed to putting food on people's tables,
we're committed to helping you put food on your table.
allergy muddlers. It's here. Do your sneezes turn heads? Try Zyrtec. It starts working hard at hour 1 and works twice as hard when you take it again the next day. Zyrtec, muddle no more.
As chairman of our family-owned Cambridge Paving Stones, I welcome you all to the annual board meeting.
Really? Grandpa.
Wait till they learn it's not all fun and games, because we make Cambridge Paving Stones the hard way with ArmorTech, our unique process that produces a rich color that looks beautiful for years to come.
I'm the chairman of the board.
Paving stones with ArmorTech. They'll always look like new.
With Armor All, a little bit of this protects you from a lot of that. Armor All, minimum effort, maximum protection.
When allergies attack, the excitement fades. Allegra helps you say yes with the fastest non-drowsy allergy relief for 24-hour relief from your indoor and outdoor allergies. Say yes to life's possibilities. Allegra, live your life, not your allergies.
To get the most out of your mornings, you need to know what weather is heading your way. Wake up watching AMHQ. Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 51 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 46. Winds north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday, cloudy, slight chance of a rain shower. High 55. Winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Wednesday night, considerable cloudiness with occasional rain showers. Low 50. Chance of rain 60%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back to our ongoing coverage of severe weather, and some very strong storms are now coming down into the Dallas and Fort Worth Metroplex. We've got a warning now for 70 to 80 mile per hour wind right along I-35, and that in effect for Denton County as well as Cook and Wise counties. And that little segment now coming towards Denton. You can see the exceptionally strong wind that is showing up in that blue color right in there. Sometimes you get a really good look at the wind when it's coming right towards the radar, which is the case in this case. There's an inbound velocity of 77 miles per hour, 79 miles per hour. So we very well could be looking at some 70 to 80 mile per hour wind here as this moves off to the southeast. Last I saw it was moving southeast at about 40 miles per hour. That is still the case. Let's take a look at when this is going to be moving. It's just about on top of you in Denton right now. It's not very far away at all. It's going to be moving down into Denton in short order, coming into Crum more immediately, and then into Denton at 10:31 and into Argyle at 10:36. So you're talking about some really strong wind here, certainly the type of wind that can cause some minor structural damage, some damage to roofs, bring down some tree limbs, if not entire trees, and bring down some power lines as well. That is what's headed your way in just a few minutes there in Denton and surrounding areas as well, and eventually down into Dallas. So primarily what we're looking at with this cell is going to be a damaging wind threat, but there could be some quarter-size hail as well. And you see that big area of heavy rain and hail there now just coming into Sanger. Now, to the west of that, Montague County and Jack and Wise counties under warning for damaging wind and also for large hail. Could be some golf ball size hail with these cells. Same story there for Jack and Young counties, and eventually that's going to sag down and towards I-20. And we can see some of the more impressive hail cores. One of those showing up near 380. Just tracking those out to show you where they're going to be headed in the next few minutes. One of those coming towards Agnes, another one of these cores, I should say, coming towards Perrin and Joplin, and then another area where we've got some, most likely some large hail dropping down west of that and towards Grayford. So in all of those areas, look out for the possibility of some golf ball size hail coming your way. Then as we get up into Arkansas, we're looking at a tornado warning and some severe thunderstorm warnings here as well. Tornado warning right along Interstate 40. That's Conway and Perry counties under warning until 10:45. Now, this is a little bit of a curlicue that has developed right along the leading edge. See that little dog leg right there that has developed along the leading edge of this very strong wind. So there is potential for a tornado there, but I think, perhaps what we could be looking at is just some very strong straight line wind. That's coming towards Conway and Gold Creek. And, here's another case where we're getting a really good look at the wind. And, in this case, it's not very far away from the radar at all. When it's a long way from the radar, it might be, 6,000 to 7,000 to 8,000 feet up. You don't know if all that velocity is coming down to the ground. Well, in this case, we're probably down to, 1,000 to 2,000 feet. I'll have to check that. But certainly it's not far away from the radar at all. And there you see an inbound velocity of 83 miles per hour. So in addition to this threat for a possible tornado, where you see that little bit of a curlicue, you've got a larger damaging wind threat and a very serious one that is coming towards Conway and surrounding areas as it moves off towards the southeast. So heads up there in Y, in Gleason, and in Conway and Mayflower. We could be talking about easily some 70 mile per hour wind coming your way as that moves through. And there is a larger warning now that does include Little Rock. I'm going to get the latest on that for you. Motion here now is southeast at 45 miles per hour. They are warning for a 60 mile per hour wind right now. Would not be surprised if that changes just based on what we're seeing on the radar near Conway. I think, we do have certainly some potential for some even stronger wind coming towards Conway. And I'm going to just check this out, sort of the larger view here to see where that's going to be coming in to Little Rock. And that'll be at about 10:57 or so on its current speed, at its current speed and on its current trajectory, coming into Little Rock near the top of the hour with some very strong winds. So heads up on that big storm coming your way. So as we look at the watches here, they go until 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. You notice there's just a tiny little area of a tornado watch that is left. And so, what that's implying is that the, optimal conditions for rotating storms, supercell storms that are more likely to produce tornadoes and large hail really have been in parts of Oklahoma, also in parts of Arkansas. And the threat is going to be morphing over the next few hours here, changing into more of a damaging wind threat with still some large hail, especially in North Texas, where the instability remains very, very high, but not quite as much of a tornado threat as we get deeper into the evening, Chris. And so, there is at least that, but it's still going to be a very dangerous night.
That is absolutely true. And there's still, Carl, we know tornado warnings being issued, so we can't completely rule that out as well. We'll get those latest ones coming to you in just a second. But back to that wind threat, the storms that Carl is tracking right now do have a history of producing some strong winds. West Plains here, 71 miles an hour. Sherwin, a report of 70, and in Tulsa, a 75 mile an hour wind report there. And that threat for more strong, possibly damaging winds extending now into Texas and into Louisiana. Here are the watches Carl was showing us, and some of the possibility, the potential for this is to see winds gusting up to 80 miles an hour, possibly 70 or 75 miles an hour. And we know that even 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, we can see damage. And then that range 75 to 90, we're talking widespread tree damage, also roof damage to homes as well, and some weak structures could be damaged. Again, severe threat continuing.
It's Velveeta shells and cheese versus the other guys. Clearly, Velveeta melts creamier.
Hi, Phil Swift here for Flex Paste, the incredible rubberized paste. Right out of the tub, Flex Paste is super thick. It clings to the surface and it instantly fills gaps and holes.
And once Flex Paste dries, it turns into a strong, flexible rubber.
To show you the power of Flex Paste, I took this chicken wire. Woo!
Bent, shaped, and covered it using only Flex Paste.
And created the world's first Flex Paste rubber boat. Not only does FlexPaste seal up every hole, but it creates a strong, watertight barrier. And the inside is completely dry. Get FlexPaste and the FlexSeal family of products at FlexSealProducts.com.
If your gums bleed when you brush, you may have gingivitis, and the clock could be ticking towards bad breath, receding gums, and possibly tooth loss. Help turn back the clock on gingivitis with Parodontax. Leave bleeding gums behind. Parodontax.
Motorcycle riders love the open road, and Geico loves helping riders get to where they're going. So to help even more, Geico is giving new and current customers a 15% credit on their motorcycle policies with the Geico Give Back. And because we're committed for the long haul, the credit lasts your whole policy term. The Geico Give Back, helping riders focus on the road ahead.
When it comes to parenting, you're a pro. You know reflexes are key. You know your kid doesn't step around puddles and wet shoes. Not cool. You know what else isn't cool? Those cheap leaky diapers. Because with Love's, you get the pro-level leak protection you're looking for. Love's. Parent like a pro.
Not even our competitor's best battery can match the power of Energizer, because Energizer Ultimate Lithium is the longest-lasting AA battery in the world. Energizer, backed by science, matched by no one.
Is that coming this way?
Active tornado warnings in effect.
I wasn't sure that I was going to walk away from the situation.
There just went a house. The roof is different. We're under fire.
When that came down, I yelled, I don't want to drown in the store.
Guys, we've got cars floating again.
Oh my God.
Truly, it was the scariest moment of my life.
Don't miss the premieres of World's Deadliest Weather and Deadline to Disaster, Sunday night, only on the Weather Channel.
This is Severe Storm Central. You're watching the Weather Channel. That is some lightning. That is some thunder. Storms lighting up the skies right now as they were earlier. The difference, it's dark now across much of the United States here. As we look at the areas in the storm threat, it's dark, and we are still dealing with the potential of some strong, damaging winds across parts of Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri. More scenes like this will be seen and heard. Likely and possibly heard before it is seen, with thunder rumbling in, possibly hail as well, pounding on the house. Multiple threats still, Carl. The good news is, at least if there is a little bit of good news with this, that tornado threat going down a little bit, but not zero yet. Let's take a look now at what you're thinking. What's catching your eye at the moment?
Well, you know, I'll tell you, there's just so much instability out here. These storms continue to be really, really strong. Got a big line, a big linear complex of storms. And so with that, it's mostly going to be a damaging wind threat going forward. But we do see some little circulations that have been developing within and ahead of the line. And one of those, most recently here in parts of western Arkansas, that is Polk County under warning until 11 p.m. This has been really interesting to watch the evolution of this, because you go back a couple of scans here, and right in there near Mineral, that is very clearly a rotation showing up right there. But then you had this big push, a very strong wind, the leading edge of a line of storms coming through, getting ready to swallow that tornado up. And sure enough, boom, there it comes. It comes right through there, and that's the end of that tornado. But there's very strong wind that is now coming through behind that. So I think we've got far less of a tornado threat, but just a damaging wind threat in this area, and a terrific amount of lightning. That is 2,000 strikes there in that area in southeastern Oklahoma and also into western Arkansas, and a highly electrical line of storms coming through. All that weather now coming down into the Dallas and Fort Worth Metroplex. We've been watching a very dangerous storm on the north side, Cook and Denton and Wise counties under warning until 11 p.m. This is not quite as pronounced as it was a few moments ago, but still some very strong wind showing up here And we got 70-mile-per-hour wind reported near Sanger. Sarah tells me I'm not surprised at that at all. I'll show you why here in just a moment. So that is coming towards North Lake in just a few minutes. Corinth at 10:37. Shady Shores 10:40. Highland Village 10:44. 70-plus mile-per-hour wind, a possibility with this storm. Now, notice as we go back a couple of frames here with this velocity data, just a really, look at that right there. I mean, that is such a strong signature. That was what came into Sanger, and that's where we got a report of 70-mile-per-hour wind. And in the most recent frames, it's not quite as profound as that, but still you've got a very serious damaging wind threat nonetheless. We've got a new scan there, and the leading edge of that coming towards Flower Mound and also towards Hackberry. So we're really getting towards the Dallas area at this point. Looking at a damaging wind threat and possibly also some large hail. I'm going to track that forward, assuming that we do continue to see a warning on this. That coming towards Lake Dallas, towards Louisville, and also towards Grapevine as well. So heads up on that. Off to the west of that, got a warning now in effect for Jack, Montague, and Wise counties. Also another warning down towards Mineral Wells. That's a new warning in effect there across I-20. That's Jack and Palo Pinto and Parker counties under warning until 11:30. Looking at the possibility of some 60-mile-per-hour wind and also some half-dollar size hail. And then a warning on the northeast side of the Metro Delta and Fannin and Lamar counties under warning until 11:30. So, again, sort of backing up here, all this weather is really now closing in on Dallas and Fort Worth. Not very far away from downtown Fort Worth at all. Will not be at all surprising to see a warning pop out for you. And primarily what we're going to be looking at is a damaging wind threat, but also some large hail. And there could be a tornado threat here. Right now, we have not really seen any tornado warnings in North Texas. Most of those have been up in Oklahoma, and conditions are going to be more favorable for wind and hail here, but we certainly can't rule out tornadoes as well. Chris, over to you.
All right, Carl, we're going to take a look at another thing that we're going to be watching for. Not the rainbows. We lost the sun. That's not going to happen. But what's bouncing occasionally here in the field? The hail. A hail threat does remain with some of these storms. Of course, the damaging wind threat is a real big one that we're going to be tracking here at the Weather Channel as it gets closer to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and into Little Rock. But these areas also could see some large hail. Still possible for many locations, and we have already seen reports of some very large hail getting up around baseball or golf ball size hail in Shawnee and in Perkins. That baseball size hail, Central High there reporting getting almost up to just about 3 inches there, 2.8 inches. And this is typically where you are at the greatest risk this time of year, late April, for the possibility for seeing some large hail. Where we're seeing some strong storms right now, a new severe thunderstorm warning right here. These storms are marching in, bearing down on Little Rock and Dallas.
Your mission, stand up to moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis and take it on with Rinvoq. Rinvoq, a once daily pill, can dramatically improve symptoms. Rinvoq helps tame pain, stiffness, swelling, and for some, Rinvoq can even significantly reduce RA fatigue. That's Rinvoq relief. With RA, your overactive immune system attacks your joints. Rinvoq regulates it to help stop the attack.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious infections and blood clots, sometimes fatal, have occurred, as have certain cancers, including lymphoma, and tears in the stomach or intestines, and changes in lab results. Your doctor should monitor your blood work. Tell your doctor about any infections, and if you are or may become pregnant while taking Rinvoq.
Take on RA. Talk to your rheumatologist about Rinvoq relief. Rinvoq, make it your mission. If you can't afford your medicine, AbbVie may be able to help.
At Domino's, we think you and your oven could use a break. Ours are running at 450 degrees, and your pizza stays untouched from here to your table. Use contactless carryout to get 3-topping pizzas on any of Domino's 5 crusts for just $7.99 each.
Fruit Loops, a delicious part of this complete breakfast.
Hey, Boston. Hey, Atlanta. Hola, Miami.
Local Now is here for you.
Hi, New York. Hey, LA. Chicago.
To get you through life's new normal.
Hey, America.
Trust me, you're going to love this. Come on.
2 tablespoons of sugar.
But kind of near average on.
This is the place to be.
Something for everyone. Local Now. Download for free in your favorite app store.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be signs that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil supports your daily digestive health using a special plant-based fiber called psyllium. Psyllium works by forming a gel in your digestive system to trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Metamucil's gelling action also helps to lower cholesterol and slows sugar absorption to promote healthy blood sugar levels. So start feeling lighter and more energetic by taking Metamucil every day.
Honda has always believed in the power of dreams. But right now, we believe in the power of something greater, the power of being there for those who need it most. Because the way we'll get through this is by remembering to care for each other and never forgetting the power of dreams.
Oh, this is going to hit town.
Inside the storm, every second counts. Deadline to Disaster premieres Sunday night on the Weather Channel.
Welcome back to our coverage of severe weather. We're following a very busy night tonight. What we're primarily going to be looking at is a damaging wind threat along with some large hail and some tornadoes. We don't expect that it's going to be a big tornado night going forward. We did have quite a few tornado warnings in Oklahoma over the last few hours here, but that is probably going to be on the wane, and we're going to be looking at more of a damaging wind threat, which is not to say that we're not going to see any tornado warnings, not at all. There certainly will be some additional tornado warnings, almost certainly. But at this point, it's going to be more of a wind and hail threat. And that is now coming down into Dallas and Fort Worth. And let's take a look at what these storms are doing. Remarkable storm here in Cook and Denton and Wise counties. This thing's got a little bit of a spin to it. In fact, we've been looking at some very strong wind down through Sanger. We got some 70-mile-per-hour wind. There's an ongoing threat here for 70-plus-mile-per-hour wind. It does look like it's not quite as profound as it was earlier. You know, part of that is that we're looking a little bit lower in the atmosphere, but part of that is just that I think it's also beginning to weaken some. But that coming towards Highland Village, as well as Louisville, and coming into Grapevine, you can see this really sort of profound area. And I'm actually going to redraw that a little bit based on the vector that I just saw there. A little bit more towards the south-southeast, I think, is where this thing appears to be headed. So coming towards Louisville and Grapevine and also into Carrollton, some very strong wind now headed your way. And I'm also going to go back and just take a look at the structure of this thing, and you can see that there's definitely a swirl there. I mean, you know, right in there and then right in there. And so, you know, this is, you know, what we call the rear inflow notch right there. And that is precisely where we've seen this very strong wind coming down with the storm. And again, in Sanger, which is right where that thing came through, that's where we had a report of 70-mile-per-hour wind. Now, off to the west of that, warning now for Jack and Montague and Wise counties until 11 p.m., looking at the possibility of some large hail here. Could be some golf ball size hail, I believe. Let's take a look at the particulars on this warning. As this has come out, actually down to quarter-size hail now. And then off to the west of that, another warning in effect for Jack and Palo Pinto, looking for half-dollar size hail with these storms, and also 60-mile-per-hour wind. And you can see the core now coming down near Perrin, not very far away from Mineral Wells, and also some pretty good lightning coming into Dallas and Fort Worth as well. Now, up into Arkansas, we see some very strong storms, a big, long line of storms coming right down into Little Rock, not very far away from Little Rock at all at this time, just knocking on the door here. looking at a warning for 70-mile-per-hour winds, and I'll show you what we saw in the velocity data moments ago. And in fact, let's just go to that right now. And then right in there, that little notch, just exceptionally strong wind. This is getting right down. I mean, we're sub 1,000 feet at this point, and you're still looking at some velocities that are way up there between Maumelle and Conway. Inbound velocity of 75 miles per hour. So when you're getting down that low, when you're shooting that low, you've got a pretty good shot at getting that translated to the ground. So, I think we're going to be looking at some exceptionally strong wind coming across this corridor, right across this Conway to Maumelle corridor, and then coming down into Little Rock as well. 70-mile-per-hour wind, and it's not far away. Moving into Blue Hill at 10:45, into Gravel Ridge at 10:55, and coming into Little Rock near the top of the hour. So heads up, certainly enough wind to cause some damage to trees, and the power lines are coming down there into Little Rock. And then farther south and west, Clark and Garland and Hot Spring counties under warning until 11:15. Again, you've got a threat for damaging wind here, and that is also the case farther north. It looks like we've got a brand new tornado warning on that area we were just watching. So that is Faulkner and Lone Oak and Pulaski counties, and you can see that little notch that is developed right along the leading edge there. So this is going to pass just north of Little Rock right there. You see that little curly Q right there? That's where you've got a possible tornado developing just north of Mayflower. And that's going to come down and looks like across Jacksonville and Cabot as well, coming towards Cato. In more immediately, next few minutes, then coming towards Macon at 11 o'clock, then Jacksonville at 11:07, and Cabot at about 11:11. Brand new scan there. I'm going to move this a little bit forward, and you can definitely see a little swirl in that area. Moving into Cato about 10:50 or so. Let's go ahead and see what this looks like in velocity data. And, it's definitely a little kink, a little bit of a dog leg right in there where you've got a possible tornado developing. So, heads up on that as that comes towards Jacksonville. Brand new scan there indicating the potential for a tornado in these areas. As that moves southeast, I believe at about 40 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the speed on this. And let's see, we've got a motion at east at 45 miles per hour. So heads up there, at a minimum, this is going to be damaging wind that is coming into your area, but we could also be looking at possibly a little spin up here, a little tornado developing. Probably not a long-lived one, but a tornado nonetheless. We certainly do see damaging tornadoes in this type of situation along the leading edge of strong thunderstorms. All right, now farther north, looking at a warning for Independence and Jackson and White counties, severe thunderstorm warning, and another severe warning now for Clay and Dunklin and Greene counties. That is going until 11:15 Central Time, so a damaging wind potential there. So just a tiny little area of a tornado watch left at this point. All the rest are severe thunderstorm watches, and that's telling you how this threat is going to be progressing through the night. It's going to be less of a tornado threat, which is not to say none, just less of a tornado threat and more of a damaging wind and large hail threat, and large hail particularly in Texas. We'll have much more on all of this coming up in a few minutes.
This is Firehouse Subs, where we're still making our hot, hearty, mouth-watering subs. Order online at firehousesubs.com or use the Firehouse Subs app. Your order will be boxed, bagged, and ready for pickup or delivery. This is Firehouse Subs.
When our daughter and her kids moved in with us, our bargain detergent couldn't keep up.
Turns out it's mostly water.
So we switched back to Tide. One wash, stains are gone.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. It's gotta be Tide.
With Dish, you get the Hopper. It lets you record up to 16 shows at once.
See you in the morning. Okay, bye, sounds great.
Because more shows can help you make the most of the perfect girls' night in.
Dish, tuned in to you.
Not even our competitor's best battery can match the power of Energizer, because Energizer Ultimate Lithium is the longest-lasting AA battery in the world. Energizer, backed by science, matched by no one.
For now, we're all living a new normal. Businesses are closing. Living rooms are now offices and schools.
And we'll rise.
Our world is suddenly different. But one thing stays the same. State Farm is there. To any of our customers currently facing financial burdens, call your State Farm agent, because we're here to help make this new normal feel just a little more normal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You wouldn't accept an incomplete job from anyone else. So why accept it from your allergy pills? Most pills don't finish the job because they don't relieve nasal congestion. Flonase allergy relief is different. Flonase relieves sneezing, itchy, watery eyes, and a runny nose, plus nasal congestion, which pills don't. Flonase helps block 6 key inflammatory substances. Most pills only block 1, and 6 is greater than 1. Start your day with Flonase for more complete allergy relief. Flonase, this changes everything.
This is the network that connects us all. The network you never think about. It's not always in plain sight, not always obvious, but it's there. And for 30 years, we've been building it. For times like these, when a connection becomes a lifeline. For families, for businesses, and for first responders. You can count on us to keep you connected when it matters most.
With coronavirus spreading, people at higher risk must take extra precautions. You are at higher risk if you're over 65 or if you have an underlying medical condition like heart disease, chronic lung disease, diabetes, or if your immune system is compromised for any reason. If you're at higher risk, stay 6 feet or 2 arm lengths away from others. Better yet, stay home if you can. The choices you make are critical. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
Is that coming this way? Active tornado warnings in effect.
I wasn't sure that I was going to walk away from this situation.
There just went a house. The roof is getting ripped off. We're under fire.
When that came down, I yelled, I don't want to drown in the store.
Guys, we've got cars floating again.
Oh my gosh.
Truly, it was the scariest moment of my life.
Don't miss the premieres of World's Deadliest Weather and Deadline to Disaster, Sunday night, only on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 51 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 46. Winds north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday, cloudy, slight chance of a rain shower. High 55. Winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Wednesday night, considerable cloudiness with occasional rain showers. Low 50. Chance of rain 60%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back to our coverage of severe weather. We're following very strong storms now in the Little Rock area as well as in Dallas and Fort Worth. And let's begin in Little Rock. There is now a tornado warning just to the north of Little Rock. That in effect for Faulkner, Lonoke, and Pulaski counties until 11:30. And seeing a little notch that has developed there now just north of Little Rock. Possible tornado along with that little dog leg that has developed there. But it looks like also certainly a serious damaging wind threat. That coming towards Cato in just another couple of minutes, into Jacksonville at 11:02, and then into Lonoke at 11:22. So a damaging wind threat, possible spin up developing along with that. And then these storms are now just about ready to come into Little Rock, moving southeast about 40, 45 miles per hour. So let's track the leading edge of these storms and show you where they're going to be headed as they move towards the southeast. Coming into Little Rock at about 11:01, so about 10 minutes or so. Then into East End at 11:08 and Woodson at about 11:18. Damaging wind on the way for you. 60 mile per hour wind is the concern with these storms now. Also warning for wind. In Clark and Garland and Hot Spring counties, could be some 1-inch hail with that as well. Severe warning here up towards Searcy, and then also near Denmark and Tuckerman, Independence, Jackson, White counties, and then a warning for Jonesboro, Arkansas, Clay, Dunklin, and Greene counties. Now into Dallas and Fort Worth. We are seeing a warning for Dallas proper. And warning now in effect for Collin, Dallas, and Denton counties going until 11:45. We've been watching this little guy here And it's got a little bit of a swirl to it, a little hard to pick out, but you can see right in there. And this wind surging back in behind there. And we got a report of 70-mile-per-hour wind to the north of Denton. That is what's going to be coming down and across the Dallas metro. So tracking that out, and let me actually run the loop here real quick just to get a good sense of the vector. That actually looks to be pretty solidly south-southeast. So we'll show you where that's going to be moving in the next few minutes. Coming into Plano here, it looks like, and then down into University Park about 11:13, into downtown Dallas about 11:17, and then into Mesquite at about 11:28. And we're looking at a threat for some 70-mile-per-hour wind in these areas. So significant wind, also quarter-size hail. But, you know, when you get into that range, you get up to a 70-mile-per-hour wind, you're talking about the potential to bring down some limbs, maybe some entire trees, certainly power lines as well, maybe even some minor structural damage to roofs. And so this is going to be a pretty mean storm coming down into the Dallas area, now moving southeast about 40 miles per hour, actually 50 miles per hour. So I'm going to redraw this. It is speeding up a little bit relative to what it was doing before, and I'm going to speed up the timing of this because it's doing that. And so this will be coming into Plano in very short order, and then coming down across 635, and then moving into Irving 1104, Dallas at 1111, and then coming into Mesquite at 1121. So again, now moving southeast at 50 miles per hour with a 70 mile per hour wind threat. So please do take this storm very seriously. This is a big deal coming down into downtown Dallas. To the west now, a little cell has popped up over Fort Worth. It's not being warned on at this time. There's a warning for Jack and Palo Pinto and Parker counties, looking at 60 mile per hour wind there, and possibly some 1-inch hail as that drops down and towards I-20. Chris, over to you.
All right, Carl, we'll get back to those storms that are bearing down there in Dallas in just a moment. But first, want to give you a heads up if you're planning your day tomorrow in the Big Easy or in the ATL, Atlanta and New Orleans, facing the potential for at least some heavy rain, but also some thunderstorms for the middle part of the week. Let's take a look at what's going on and how this is all playing out here. Now, not as much energy that we are seeing right now across parts of Texas and Louisiana, but still enough for a little bit of oomph in the atmosphere, if you will, with the southerly winds bringing in a little bit more moisture. Then we look at these southwesterly winds coming in, with the winds going at a different direction with height. The southwesterly at one level and then coming more westerly at another, putting in play here the potential that we could have some storms that are rotating or tilted that last a little bit longer and can produce some nastier weather. A quick look at the timing here. This is mid-morning, some showers by early afternoon for the Atlanta metro area. By the afternoon, things get a little messy, then eventually get a little nasty between about 5 and 7 o'clock, depending on where you are in the metro area, and this should be out of here before midnight for you in Atlanta. How about New Orleans? It's going to be a mid-morning to early afternoon as things are starting to heat up across North Georgia, then eventually during the overnight hours through the Carolinas, and even now into portions of Florida as well. Again, this is taking you now into Thursday. So we're looking at this system taking a couple more days to get completely offshore. So on Thursday, the Carolinas, parts of Florida in the threat zone here. And you can see right here, severe weather heading to Dallas and Little Rock. Let's take a live look right now at Little Rock with these storms bearing down. We can see even ahead of the worst of the weather coming in, the trees moving around, the sky in the distance lighting up. Storms are on the move for you in Little Rock. 69 degrees right now. Warm enough for storms. We've also been watching the horizon here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is live right now of Dallas. Just looking here. It's just a matter of time. We are seeing more lightning showing up, also taking you down the ground. Dry right now, 80 degrees. It's not going to stay that way. Big storm heading your way. Could see winds up to 70 miles an hour.
They are the heroes, the helpers, working on the front lines. And here's one small way that you can help them in return. Complete your 2020 census today. 2020 census data helps communities plan funding for hospitals, clinics, and emergency services across the country. An accurate count helps public health officials know who is at risk, and first responders identify the resources they need to protect our communities. Complete your census at 2020census.gov and help shape our future.
At Domino's, we think you and your oven could use a break. Ours are running at 450 degrees, and your pizza stays untouched from here to your table. Use contactless carryout to get 3-topping pizzas on any of Domino's 5 crusts for just $7.99 each.
ProPlan Live Clear, a breakthrough. 10 years in the making that reduces allergens in cat hair and dander. Outstanding nutrition with the power to change lives. This is Purina ProPlan Live Clear.
It's best we stay apart for a bit, but that doesn't mean you're in this alone. We're automatically refunding our customers a portion of their personal auto premiums. We're also offering flexible payment options for those who have been financially affected by the crisis. We look forward to returning to something that feels a little closer to life as we knew it. But until then, you can see how we're here to help at libertymutual.com/COVID-19.
Outsmarting a nasty Nessie with Duluth Flex Dry on the Fly pants. Step 1, locate the legend. Step 2, flex 'em. And unwet 'em. Duluth Flex Dry on the Fly pants. Make your legs legendary. Only at DuluthTrading.com.
Natural Bliss Almond has turned the creamer world upside down with almond milk creamers that are deliciously creamy, made with real almonds and Madagascar vanilla. So good, it's simply nuts. Natural Bliss. Keep it real, make it simple.
Not even our competitor's best battery can match the power of Energizer, because Energizer Ultimate Lithium is the longest-lasting AA battery in the world. Energizer, backed by science, matched by no one.
The story of the Kind Mini. We took the full-size bar and cut it in half. So the next time it's 3 o'clock and you want some delicious dark chocolate, grab a dark chocolate nuts and sea salt mini with whole almonds and just 90 calories. It's a kinder way to satisfy.
Now, more than ever, her love keeps you centered. Show her how much she means to you with a gift from the Center of Me collection. Happy Mother's Day from Kay.
Severe Storm Center, you are watching the Weather Channel, and we are watching conditions deteriorate in a big way here in Little Rock, Arkansas. Storms are moving in right now as we speak. The lightning is lighting up the sky. The rain is pounding the ground here, pounding the roadways. You can see the leaves on the trees, the branches swaying around. You are now getting in the thick of things right now, the front edge of a pretty nasty looking storm that is moving in. Temperatures right now close to 70 degrees, closer to 80 degrees in Dallas. In fact, it is 80 degrees, and these storms are on the horizon. They are heading in. They are moving in from the northwest right now, and a look now from the ground. 80 degrees again here, and the road is dry. There's some lightning off in the distance. You can see that. I believe as we look and kind of get a lay of the land here, look at that. This camera really doing a good job. The resolution is really fine to where when the lightning happens and the sky lights up, you can really see kind of the formation of the clouds, and you get kind of a good look at the storms that are approaching, generally, again, from the north coming in with a little bit of a northwesterly tilt. I know, Carl, you're working to get the very latest information on these storms. 70-mile-an-hour winds looking imminent for Dallas with the storms crushing right now into Little Rock. What are you thinking? What's catching your eye at the moment?
Well, you know, we've seen this really mean cell that came right down to 35, and in the Denton area, we got some reports of winds to 70 miles per hour. That is now coming down into Dallas County, so that is the most serious cell right now. Also, a new warning in effect for Fort Worth, Denton, and Tarrant and Wise counties under warning, looking at the possibility of some 60-mile-per-hour wind. We've got a couple of areas that are coming through now, but, you know, the cell that's got me more concerned is the one that's now near Plano, and that's the one that's being warned on for 70-mile-per-hour wind. As we zoom in a little bit here, we can see the leading edge of that is not very far away from downtown Dallas. And again, we've had a history of some very strong wind with this storm. So as that continues to drive down towards the south-southeast, that'll be coming into downtown Dallas not very long from now, probably just about 15 minutes or so. Moving into Irving more immediately, about 11:08, Mesquite 11:22, and Rockwall at about 11:23. And again, 70-mile-per-hour wind is going to be the concern with this storm. I'm going to go ahead and loop this for you so you can get a sense of the vector there, and I think that's basically about it, basically south-southeast. And we're also seeing a pretty good bit of lightning with these storms. Look at that, a heck of a light show, and it's going to be looking rather remarkable. That shot that you see just below me there, that's going to be lit up quite a bit in just a matter of moments as this highly electrical storm comes through. In fact, let's go ahead and check. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, and let's just see just how much lightning there is. You know, it's not surprising at all that we've got all of this lightning because you've got just so much instability, a lot of warm and humid air. There's a live look at downtown there, and you know, I'm not sure what direction we're looking in. You know, Chris, you're usually pretty good about directions that way.
Carl, I'm looking at that right now. Give me a moment here. I just identified that building and...
But so, you know, as we look at the lightning here, you know, looking at all of the cells that are now coming down into the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, we've got now nearly 900 lightning strikes. So that's stretching from just outside of Greenville, across the north side of Dallas into Fort Worth, and then back out towards Weatherford as well. Nearly 900 strikes that just changed now to 700. So you see this sort of doing this in real time. Let's just take this one that's coming into Dallas. That's the one we're going to focus on in the next few minutes. And just that little section right there is probably producing really significant lightning. There, wow, look at that. That is 500 strikes now coming right into the north side of Dallas. So that picture is going to change really radically in just a few minutes here. This is now moving southeast at 50 miles per hour. And in addition to that light show that's coming in, we're going to be looking at a significant wind threat. We could be talking about 60 to 70 mile per hour wind. The wind generally has not been as high as it was on the north side of the metro. Up around Denton is where we saw this really pronounced wind signature there, and winds of 70 miles per hour reported, measured. Now they're down to about 60 miles per hour, but we still could see some 70 mile per hour wind. But the upshot here is that these are some very serious storms that are now coming through. And Chris, did you get a sense of the direction on the camera?
You know what? What I'm thinking is we are looking just about due. I think the green building right there, I believe that's the Bank of America Plaza building there. We're looking downtown Dallas here, and it's off to the left would be northwest. So we're looking right at these storms like head on. Wow. Just about as they are moving in right now. So we're looking out, I believe, over the historical part of Dallas. If you've been to the area near the convention center, kind of in that part, the southern part of Dallas. So we're looking over the heart of Dallas, and kind of the same vantage point. My guess is this is just on the south side of the Trinity River, this vantage point. Yeah, and this is also looking north. So I think my guess is right that when we look at the Bank of America Plaza building there, the green one with the green lights, that's looking more of a northwesterly direction. So that's more northwest off to the left, and off to the right would be a more northerly direction here. So we're watching these storms moving right in, Carl.
Yeah, coming right into the heart of Dallas there. And, you know, again, we're talking about a tremendous electrical storm. Look at that. You can see it being lit up there. It's not very far away from downtown Dallas. In fact, I'm going to measure sort of the heart of this lightning, and it looks like it's about 15 miles away now from Dallas and moving at 50 miles per hour. So you can do the math there. It's going to be moving in a very short order, not long at all, maybe 10, 20 minutes, somewhere in the order of that. In fact, let me go ahead and just time out the leading edge of all of this as it moves southeast and coming down into Dallas about 11:17 or so. So you're talking about, again, about 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more than that, 12 minutes coming into downtown Dallas before we get walloped with a terrific amount of wind and lightning. And that's going to be the primary threat with these storms. There could be some hail as well, but it's mostly going to be a wind and a hail threat. looking at possibly some quarter-size hail, but 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts will be the worry as this drops down and into the Dallas area. So, again, we'll come back to this in just a few minutes because that's going to be a radically different picture there not very long from now. Now, taking you farther north up into Little Rock, we had been watching a tornado warning here. That has been allowed to expire. Now a severe thunderstorm warning for Lone Oak and Pulaski and Saline counties. So that's now coming through Little Rock. Some very strong winds have just blasted through, as you can see. This is always kind of fun to watch when you see it's that green and blue color coming towards the radar, and then it's the yellowish and orangish color moving away from the radar. There's a live look, by the way, at Little Rock, and you see the heavy rain coming down now. So it's going to be a little rough for the next, say, 10 to 15 minutes, but it looks like the leading edge now being beyond you, things are probably going to be improving, save for the fact that, again, you've got a lot of lightning here. That's been a real hallmark of all of these storms, and not a big surprise given the amount of instability that we've been talking about. It's just a very, very unstable atmosphere, which lends itself to very tall clouds. And when you've got really tall clouds, more of the cloud is up into the area where you get ice particles, and that's a big part of what helps to drive that lightning threat. So you've got quite a bit of lightning coming through Little Rock right now, as well as into Hot Springs. And we just got a report of a 46 mile per hour wind gust coming into Little Rock. So certainly a wind threat as well, and an ongoing severe warning there for Little Rock. It points further east. There you see the latest on that. Leading edge, as I mentioned, now just through Little Rock and continuing off to the southeast. So I'm going to track that for you very quickly as that moves to the southeast, rapidly coming into Pettus at 11:18, England at 11:23, Coy at 11:30, and Hazen at 11:31. Now, north of that, other warnings to tell you about: Prairie White, Woodruff under warning for wind and some 1-inch hail. And then also west of Memphis, Crittenden and Cross and Poinsett counties under warning. I've got just a little thin line there, and then another one that's going to be coming through. So eventually that'll be moving towards Memphis. Then here in Texarkana, I wanted to show you this because this area of storms also really means business. Bowie, Little River, McCurtain counties under warning for 70-mile-per-hour wind. So let's time that out and see when that's going to be getting. It's not very far away from Texarkana. It's just going to be a matter of moments before that gets into Texarkana. Coming down across Route 30 there, Interstate 30, I should say. Moving into Texarkana about 11:29, so you've got about 20 minutes or so before some exceptionally strong wind comes your way. And that's really going to be the biggest part of what we're facing going forward. It's mostly going to be a straight line wind threat. There may yet be some tornado warnings. Certainly there could be some large hail, especially in Texas, but that's the biggest part of it, is a damaging wind threat going forward. And you see the severe thunderstorm watches there that are in effect. And I also want to show you the instability, because this is an important part of this story. You can think of instability as fuel for thunderstorms. And so, as we watch these storms up here on the north side near Memphis, look what's happening with the instability. They're just about ready to run out of gas. They're about ready to run into areas where there's not as much instability. In fact, you notice those cells that were west of Memphis were starting to look a little thin. They weren't quite as robust. So that's not a surprise given what we're seeing with the fuel. And you see that there is some here, certainly near Little Rock, but it doesn't last much longer than that. However, you look down here into Texas, and I mean, it's just off the charts. I mean, you've got tremendous, very high-end instability there in Texas, which tells you that part of the line is going to keep going for a very, very long time. That's a big part of why we expect to see this threat going until the morning, as a matter of fact. Right down 35, right down 45, right into Killeen and Waco, into Huntsville, and into Houston as well. And in fact, making its way to the Gulf Coast around the time the sun comes up tomorrow morning. Still some very strong storms and a damaging wind potential coming through those areas. Chris, over to you.
And looking at that, Carl, it's also interesting to see that the instability is building in some parts of Texas and western Louisiana. Meanwhile, here in Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, this is the scene. The storms have been coming through. The lightning still on the horizon. The winds not as strong as they were just moments ago, but the lightning still as furious. The roads swamped in some cases. You can see these cars going along, the rooster tails behind the cars. The camera itself, the lens cover, absolutely soaked. Heavy rain still happening here. And when you look at a scene like this is what you have heading your way. In fact, it's going to be worse than this in Dallas here in a matter of moments. 68 degrees right now in Arkansas. There in Little Rock, it is still close to 80 degrees. You see here on the horizon the skyline. Beyond that, beyond downtown Dallas and off to the left. We're looking north, so off to the left, Fort Worth out there. It's off camera. It's way off there where the lightning is going off to the left. And here to the north, you can see how the lightning is illuminating the sky in the sense that we can see the clouds from time to time. But boy, this is going to be a different scene. Both cameras we are tracking right now. This is still looking mainly to the north, but you can imagine where it says Dallas and 79. That is a little bit more in a northwesterly direction and a little bit more to the left. You head out to the Fort Worth area. Both areas right now, Dallas and Fort Worth, both under severe thunderstorm warnings at the moment. Strong storm is bearing down on you right now. In fact, the northern suburbs of the Dallas metro area right now getting rocked, and you can see the lightning is frequent. And I don't know, Carl, if you're seeing this too, but you look at the horizon and you see the lights there on the ground. I'm starting to think that maybe that line is actually approaching and we're seeing fewer lights, how the heavy rain will obscure the lights as I'm staring at the lights off to the left. And it might be my imagination, I'm not sure, but I think that we can actually see that fuzzy nature of the camera, which is making me think that maybe the rain shaft is getting a little bit closer here, or more like the rain curtain, I think, is probably more an appropriate way to describe that. But you see the lightning and the clouds on the horizon. It's a remarkable scene, especially knowing, Carl, what is heading their way.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right about that. In fact, you can actually see the cloud base there as it's getting a little bit closer, and the area that is illuminated underneath, that's that big rain, heavy rain core. It's not very far away right now. I mean, it's just now coming. It's just now coming into 6:35, so knocking on the door there in University Park. I mean, relative to this downtown area, the leading edge of the heaviest rain is now 8 miles away and moving southeast at about 50 miles per hour. So you're talking about, being around 10 minutes away, probably at the most here, coming into downtown Dallas. There you see the leading edge right there. And certainly there's going to be a pretty serious damaging wind threat. I think the greater threat for strong winds is a little farther north, a little bit of a rear inflow notch right in there, showing us some potential for some strong wind coming down across Route 75 there. But all the way around, there could be wind. You notice the sort of bowing shape there near Garland as well. I'd be very concerned about some strong wind in that area in particular, more so than in areas that are farther west. But this now moving down into Garland about 11:14, coming into Rockwell at 11:21, and coming into Dallas about 11:22 or so. And as we've said, there is quite a bit of lightning showing up. I mean, look at that. That is something that has actually gotten more pronounced in just the last few minutes since we've been watching that. And sure enough, 588 strikes with just that segment that is coming into Dallas right now. We'll have much more on this in just a few minutes.
Fruit Loops, a delicious part of this complete breakfast. Wow, that's Ensure Max Protein with high protein and 1 gram sugar.
It's a sit-up, banana, bend at the waist. I'm trying. Keep it up. You'll get there. Whoa!
30 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. Ensure Max Protein.
At Domino's, we think you and your oven could use a break. Ours are running at 450 degrees, and your pizza stays untouched from here to your table. Use contactless carryout to get 3-topping pizzas on any of Domino's 5 crusts for just $7.99 each.
Not even our competitor's best battery can match the power of Energizer, because Energizer Ultimate Lithium is the longest-lasting AA battery in the world. Energizer, backed by science, matched by no one.
When we face adversity, we find a way through it. It's about taking care of each other. It's the small parts that make a big difference. At Chevy, we promise to do ours. We're offering current Chevy owners OnStar Crisis Assist services and complimentary Wi-Fi data. To help keep you on the road, the Chevy Certified Service Experts are here and ready to help if you require parts, maintenance, or repairs. You can even schedule your service appointments online. It's just our way of doing our part.
Yeah? I fell. Okay, there's bandages in the cabinet. I'm bleeding. Grab 2.
Sheba, what cats want. With Dish, you get the Hopper. It lets you record up to 16 shows at once.
See you in the morning. Okay, bye, sounds great.
Because more shows can help you make the most of the perfect girls' night in.
Dish.
Mama, Mama.
Why do I keep falling asleep during the day? What's making me so tired?
Why does it feel like I'm still dreaming when I wake up? What could be causing this?
Hey, Luke, wake up. You fell asleep again.
Why do I always fall asleep on the bus after school? Why am I so tired?
It turns out we're more than tired. We have symptoms of narcolepsy, like the uncontrollable urge to sleep during the day, sudden muscle weakness during laughter or emotions.
Dreamlike hallucinations, or feeling paralyzed when falling asleep or waking up.
Or waking up frequently during the night.
If you or your child has any of these symptoms, it's time to do something about it. I waited too long to take action, but you don't have to. Learn more at morethantired.com. Take the narcolepsy symptom screener now and find a sleep specialist to share your results. Visit morethantired.com today. Don't wait any longer to take action.
To get the most out of your mornings, you need to know what weather is heading your way. Wake up watching AMHQ. Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 50 degrees under fair skies. Overnight, some clouds, low 46. Winds north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday, cloudy, slight chance of a rain shower. High 55. Winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Wednesday night, cloudy with showers. Low 50. Chance of rain 60%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
This is Severe Storm Central. You're watching the Weather Channel. New picture just into the Weather Channel showing what the strong winds can do, bringing down this tree in Conway, Arkansas. That's north of Little Rock, and fortunately no one hurt, no structural damage either, but it shows you the strength of just some of the winds that we're dealing with this line of storms that have been working through parts of Arkansas and through portions of Texas. I want to go back to storm specialist Carl Parker as these storms are bearing down on Dallas.
Yeah, Chris, and we're driving right into downtown Dallas here, and you know, the one thing that really stands out, of course, is the lack of activity related to this great national crisis that we've all been going through, and you know, so that's the good thing when it comes to severe weather. Everybody's pretty much in place. These storms are going to produce some potentially very strong wind, 60, maybe 70 mile per hour wind, a lot of lightning coming through as well. You're just getting a little bit of a sense for that, and there's a larger, sort of a broader view, and you can see that line that's now getting ready to come in. And there is an ongoing severe thunderstorm warning for just about the entire metro. Dallas under warning right now for potential 70 mile per hour wind as well as 1-inch hail. Fort Worth under warning right now for 60 mile per hour wind and 1-inch hail. There you go, Denton, Tarrant, and Wise counties. That's the warning until 11:45. Got sort of a broken line that's coming through, one initial area and then another cell that is behind that. The one that's now moving through Dallas does not appear to be quite as strong in the area that is coming right through downtown as it is farther northeast. That little surge right there is where I think we're probably maximizing the wind as it comes towards Interstate 30, and that's just from, say, downtown, just northeast. That's where I think we're going to be getting in on some of the stronger wind, Rockwall as well as Heath and also Mesquite, those areas getting in on some pretty strong wind. But as we mentioned, it's just knocking on the door now. It's just about on top of Dallas, and you can see all the lightning here as well. That is the real-time lightning there, and so there's quite a bit of it. Let's look at the trend over the last few minutes and just holding steady. So, you know, a huge light show coming through along with some very strong wind. You see the live camera there, and in a matter of just moments, this is going to be a really radically different scenario. It's going to be extremely wet and windy, and we're going to see a heck of a light show coming through for probably about 15 or 20 minutes or so. But again, everybody safely ensconced in their homes for the most part. And so, you know, it's probably not going to be an enormous impact for the Dallas area, but there certainly could be some tree limbs down. There could be some power lines down, that type of thing. And, you know, as always, lightning is very dangerous, so make sure you take the proper precautions there. I want to show you also some other areas that we're watching. One is in northeast Texas, and a very vigorous line now dropping down into Texarkana. So there is a warning for Bowie and Little River and McCurtain counties for potentially 70 mile per hour wind. I'm going to time that out for you. That is just about on top of Texarkana as well as into Hope, and coming down pretty quickly, about 40 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour. Let me get a sense of the motion here, get a readout of the motion, I should say, and the 45 miles per hour. So right in between those two. And that's going to be coming into Texarkana at 11:32 and into Cookeville at 11:51. So heads up for some damaging wind coming your way. Again, 70 mile per hour wind is the threat here. I was going to look at the velocity data, but for whatever reason, the radar's not functioning quite normally in that area. Then also into Arkansas, several warnings here. One of those for Little Rock, another one farther south for Clark, Dallas, and Hot Spring County. Here you can see that strong wind that's coming through. Look at that little surge right there. That's getting ready to come into Hamilton. Let's query that because that's going to mean some business. That's a 72 mile per hour outbound velocity, just about ready to slam into Hamilton. So heads up for some strong wind there. Also some strong wind just to the west of England. So another area to keep an eye on. And then we see even more of that getting up into the northeast part of the state. Warning for Prairie and White and Woodruff, and a warning just outside of Memphis, Tennessee. But I talked about this moments ago. Something else I want to show you is what's going on with the instability with these storms. This is the fuel for the thunderstorms. And you notice that on the northeast end of this line, that the instability there in red, what is sort of requisite for severe storms, is just about gone. So that part of the line is going to begin to weaken as it moves, say, towards Paducah and across the Mississippi River near Memphis, which is not to say there won't still be some wind. It's just not going to be quite as profound. But then farther south, more towards Texas, you see there's just a huge amount of instability, and that's where things are going to be going for quite a while yet. Chris, over to you.
All right, Carl, we want to go back now and take a live look now at downtown Dallas here. The historic portion of Dallas downtown, and looking around, you don't see anybody on the streets. The streets are dry right now. That's going to change, and that's going to change in a big way because of what is on the horizon. If you're getting a hint, the flashes in the distance, lightning illuminating the sky from time to time, and you can see what appears to be the leading edge of the clouds that are engulfing the northern part of the city, bringing with it a ton of lightning and a whole heck of a lot of rain, and the potential too for some very strong winds. It's just a matter of minutes now before the storm's going to be rolling in here to downtown Dallas. Tracking this here from this tower cam, also from the ground and on the radar. Stay with the Weather Channel.
Looks good.
Sure, let me help you with that.
I'm your mother-in-law, and I like to question your every move, like this left turn.
It's the next one.
You always drive this slow.
How did you make someone I love?
That must be why you're always so late.
I do not speed, and that's saving me cash with DriveWise.
Yeah, my son, he did say that you were the safe option.
And that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
So get Allstate.
Stop bossing.
Where good drivers save 40% for avoiding mayhem like me. It's my son's favorite color. You should try it. You always drive like an old lady.
You're an old lady.
Buick and GMC are here to help. For our customers, that means helping you stay at home. That's why we've made it possible for you to shop online with Shop Click Drive, and you may even be able to schedule your certified service appointment online from home. For our healthcare professionals who are doing so much to keep us safe, we are introducing a special discount to thank you for all that you do. These are unprecedented times. Buick and GMC are here to help.
At Papa John's, we want you to know that from our 450-degree oven to box to you, it's our policy that your pizza is never touched once it comes out of the oven. And we're taking extra steps like no contact delivery to ensure it.
Hey, Boston. Hey, Atlanta. Hola, Miami.
Local Now is here for you.
Hi, New York. Hey, LA. Chicago.
To get you through life's new normal.
Hey, America.
Trust me, you're going to love this. Come on.
2 tablespoons of sugar.
But kind of near average on.
This is the place to be.
Something for everyone. Local Now. Download for free in your favorite app store.
Honda has always believed in the power of dreams. But right now, we believe in the power of something greater, the power of being there for those who need it most. Because the way we'll get through this is by remembering to care for each other and never forgetting the power of dreams.
Is that coming this way?
Active tornado warnings in effect.
I wasn't sure that I was going to walk away from the situation.
There just went a house. The roof just get ripped off. We're under fire.
When that came down, I yelled, I don't want to drown in the store.
Guys, we've got cars floating again.
Oh my God.
Truly, it was the scariest moment of my life.
Don't miss the premieres of World's Deadliest Weather and Deadline to Disaster, Sunday night, only on the Weather Channel.
Right now here on the Weather Channel, tracking severe weather, possibly dangerous weather across parts of the U.S., including here in Arkansas. This is not too far away from Little Rock, and we have been in the thick of things right here as these storms have been absolutely rocking the area with a lot of lightning, some very heavy rain that continues to pound this portion of Arkansas as we are watching this line of storms that stretches from Texas through Arkansas all the way up to Missouri. And it has more states to traverse before it is done. And we have a long night on the way for parts of Arkansas and here in Texas. And here we go. The rain has reached here in Dallas, and it has cooled off quite a bit. It was 80 degrees probably about a half an hour ago. It's now 75, and we're seeing the lightning and the heavy rain that is rolling in right now through downtown. This would be on the radar, the yellows getting into the oranges and the reds. And there goes our visibility, and this is what it looks like on the ground. Notice the rain coming in sideways from this vantage point. We had dry streets just a few moments ago, and nothing convenient about this right here with this kind of rain and wind coming down. You see the windshield wipers going as fast as they can. There's emergency personnel out there, law enforcement, cruising the streets, it appears. And this is, you see that it's almost like sheets of rain coming down, where it looks like it's coming in waves. Seeing some of the heaviest rain so far here as it is just getting started. So you're getting some of the heaviest rain pretty much right off the bat with the leading edge of this storm, and you can barely make out, if the buildings aren't completely lit up and outlined in blue or green lights, it's really hard to make sense of what we're looking at here in downtown Dallas. Again, this is the historic portion of downtown Dallas, the area here right just north of where Interstate 30 is and 345. We're talking downtown here, and you can see the building right there, the Bank of America Plaza building right there, the green outlined on the left from the air from another tall building, and then on the ground, a storm tracker driving around. So you can see the visibility up and then down below between the buildings. The trees blowing around a bit. You still see the flashes in the sky with the lightning. In fact, I think we just saw maybe a little delay with one flash to the other. So we're seeing also, you see the splashes? How quickly the water comes down, or the rain collects as puddles and a lot of water. And this is such heavy rain, the windshield wipers just not able to keep up. And I think probably a good bet here is to follow the cops, right? Follow the police officers here, kind of like an impromptu escort around downtown as we're cruising the streets here of Dallas, trying to give you an idea of what it's like to see some of the heaviest rain. Now, we're looking, here at buildings and at sturdy structures, but you can imagine if you're in a rural area away from protected areas like this, we'd likely be seeing the trees swaying around quite a bit. And the other thing, too, that's missing, Carl, as we look at this, is the sound, right? You would have the heavy rain pelting the vehicles here and the windshield wipers squeaking as they're going as fast and furious as they can side to side here. But we're in it right now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, and it strikes me, I noticed there was a hotel there just off to the right. This looks like it's, an area that would probably be pretty busy on, on an average night. Right in the heart of Dallas, and boy, it's just as quiet as can be, given all that's been happening in the last couple of months here. But people most likely safely ensconced in their homes, and that's just as well because we've got a nasty line of storms now coming through. I'm going to go ahead and get into some of these. The newest warning here in the metro area, Hood and Johnson and Parker counties, that warning until 12:30 could be some large hail here, $half size hail, and also damaging wind. Ongoing warning in Dallas, and we had a wind. We've been talking about this big surge. You can see how there's sort of a backward C shape showing up right in there. It's a big bow that actually just missed downtown Dallas, the worst of the wind and the rain and lightning coming through now. But that is the area where we've seen some very strong wind. In fact, there's a brand new warning that has just come out. I'm going to get the latest on that for you. Warning now for 65-mile-per-hour winds. And let's see what this is for. That includes that's Hunt and Kaufman and Van Zant counties. And again, this area right there, that bow echo is the one that's been the most prolific in terms of producing wind. We got a report of a 78-mile-per-hour wind gust in Plano. That is a terrific amount of wind. When you get to that level, you're definitely talking about bringing down some trees and tree limbs. And so the leading edge of that bow is now just about ready to come into Terrell there and towards Wills Point as well, Crandall, and all of those areas. Heads up, you've got a really mean windstorm on the way. That's where the worst of the wind in the Dallas area is right now, and moving off to the southeast at about 50 miles per hour. And then off to the west of that, strong storms coming right through downtown Dallas with heavy rain and a lot of lightning. And we're going to talk much more about all of this on the other side.
Wow, that's Ensure Max Protein with high protein and 1 gram sugar.
It's a sit-up, banana, bend at the waist. I'm trying. Keep it up. You'll get there.
Whoa! 30 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. Ensure Max Protein.
Duracell Optimum will be right where you need them today, tomorrow, the day after that, and the day after that, day after day. Packaging designed to make storage easier. Duracell Optimum.
Dream hard. Work fierce. Forge wild. Duluth Trading Fire Hose Pants. Forge your way.
Got it?
Got it.
It's slippery.
Yes.
Quick! The Quicker Picker-Upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker and is 2 times more absorbent than the leading ordinary brand.
Hey, look. I got it.
Bounty, the Quicker Picker-Upper.
There is nothing love can't do. Love is strong, beautiful. Love makes us rise and heal and overcome. There's nothing that love can't do.
Our love is a diamond.
If you found your true love, let's find the right ring at Zales.com. Get 0 down special financing on the Diamond credit card on purchases of $300 or more. Zales, the Diamond Store.
It's the 610 woke up like this migraine medicine. The 340 mid-shift migraine medicine. Introducing Ubrelvy. It's the migraine medicine for any time, anywhere a migraine attacks without worrying if it's too late or where you happen to be. 1 dose of Ubrelvy can quickly stop a migraine in its tracks within 2 hours. Many had pain relief in 1 hour. Do not take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors. Few people had side effects. Most common were nausea and tiredness. Ask your provider about Ubrelvy or access doctors from home with telemedicine. Migraines can strike anytime, anywhere. Ubrelvy, the anytime, anywhere migraine medicine.
At Papa John's, we want you to know that from our 450-degree oven to box to you, it's our policy that your pizza is never touched once it comes out of the oven. And we're taking extra steps like no contact delivery to ensure it.
And we're back. It's all to play for here. Anybody's game. Here's the snap. Drops, fakes, throws right on the net. Oh, drops it. Oh, that's going to hurt. Oh, the stuff that nightmares are made of. Wow.
To get the most out of your mornings, you need to know what weather is heading your way. Wake up watching AMHQ. Weekday mornings on the Weather Channel.
Welcome back to our coverage of severe storms. We're following a really active line of storms with primarily a damaging wind threat coming into North Texas, across parts of Arkansas right now, just about ready to move into northwestern Louisiana, and also coming up towards Memphis, Tennessee. The northeast part of this line, as you get more towards, say, the Ohio Valley and Paducah, that part of the line is going to run out of gas because we're just not going to have enough instability. But farther south, the instability is going to keep the storms going all night long as they drop down the 35 and 45 corridor into Houston and come down into Louisiana as well. And let's begin in North Texas and Dallas, where we've got strong storms now coming right through the Metroplex. Hood, Johnson, Parker counties under warning for hail and high wind. Got an ongoing warning in downtown Dallas for wind, and you can see the leading edge of the storms now coming through here. The worst part of the storm, and you can really see it really stands out actually came through Plano. You can see this sort of a backward C shape right in there that's coming towards Terrell. That's where we could be talking about some 65 to 70 mile per hour wind. There was a report of a 78 mile per hour wind in Plano as that came through. So that's the most dangerous part of the storms that are coming through the Dallas area right now. And in fact, there is a warning just off of the southeast. And man, just a lot of lightning here. Look at this in the Dallas area. Now 700 strikes in just the last 15 minutes. So highly electrical storm coming through. And in fact, you see in the live camera there, just below me, you can see how the sky is just lit up. That's the way it's going to look for a while. Next 15, 20 minutes, it's going to be probably nonstop lightning there in downtown Dallas. So, you know, as always, make sure you take precautions and stay away from corded things like computers. So we've got, again, a highly electrical storm now coming through. There you see just how broad that area of weather is. Lightning flashing all across the sky there as we look towards the northwest and just past downtown Dallas. So again, very strong wind east of town. Hunt, Kaufman, Van Zant counties under warning until 12:30 for possible 65 mile per hour wind. I'm going to go ahead and track that forward because that is, I mentioned, the most dangerous part of the storms that are now coming through the area. That is now, in fact, the apex of that bow is coming into Terrell right now. So I would imagine we're going to be seeing some really strong wind there right now. Then beyond that, heads up in Ola, as well as Kaufman and in Wills Point for some damaging wind to come through. Then well off to the southwest, got a threat for some large hail here. That is Comanche and Eastland counties under warning until 12:30, looking at the potential for some 2-inch hail that is larger than golf ball size hail and reported egg size hail there along with that cell. Then up into the Arklatex, a couple of warnings to tell you about in this area. I've got a warning for Mount Pleasant and around I-30 there, Cass, Morris, and Titus for 60 mile per hour wind. And then a warning for areas just southeast of Hope, Hempstead, Lafayette, and Nevada counties going until 12:15 for 70 mile per hour wind. And again, we're seeing one of these sort of bowing structures. And whenever you see that sort of bowing shape there, that's when you get concerned about the possibility of some really strong wind. That coming towards Bodka, towards Stamps, as well as Magnolia, and all of those areas. Heads up for some exceptionally strong straight line wind to come through. Then up into Arkansas, we've got more severe warnings here. One of those into Pine Bluff, and that's just about ready to come into Pine Bluff. You see the strong wind showing up in the orange and yellowish color there. And then more storms farther northeast, getting up into northeast Arkansas and just outside of Memphis. But interesting part to this story, you see the instability, what is required for thunderstorms to keep going, the fuel essentially, and you see how we're starting to run to the edge of that instability tongue in the northeast part of this line. So you can envision here this, and you can see it already as a matter of fact. Notice how these storms near Paducah, west of Paducah, they got to that edge there of that fuel, and they are now starting to collapse. They're beginning to fall apart because they're running out of gas. We're going to see something similar for some of these storms that are moving farther east into western Tennessee. But farther south, I mean, look at that. Just an unlimited supply of instability of fuel for the storms in Texas. And that's why, Chris, they're going to keep going all night long and press all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Over to you.
And Carl, as we take a look now at Richardson, Texas, where you can actually see some of the clouds on the horizon, and boy, oh boy, what a sight this is. You can actually see some of the lightning bolts themselves here with this weather stem camera here, again in Richardson, Texas. And you look at this, and you can see it looks like the intra-cloud lightning, so the lightning is not necessarily getting all the way to the ground, and then every once in a while you'll just see the whole sky illuminated by lightning that may be a little bit closer here. Certainly, as Carl mentioned, an electric, well, look, did you see that? Wow, Carl, as you're looking at this, does anything jump out at you other than the fact that it's just confirming what we're seeing with what you've been showing us with all of the lightning associated with these storms? I'm
a little bit jealous. To be honest with you, I mean, I obviously you want to be safe in a situation like this, but if you can watch this, indoors and and, generally stay a little bit away from the windows. I love this kind of thing. I really do. I think it's just, there's so much power there. You see the whole sky lit up like that. It's remarkable.
It absolutely is remarkable. It's a magnificent display. Unfortunately, living through it is different when you don't have power across parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas. We're hearing that more than 73,000 customers without power. These powerful storms still rolling on through the night.
Now, more than ever, her love keeps you centered. Show her how much she means to you with a gift from the Center of Me collection. Happy Mother's Day from Kay.
Hi, I'm Lolly, a Domino's franchisee.
As you can see, we're open and working hard to safely keep putting food on people's tables.
And we could use your help doing that.
If getting some full or part-time work during these tough times could help you,
Domino's is hiring.
Head to jobs.domino's.com
and apply today. Because we're not only committed to putting food on people's tables,
we're committed to helping you put food on your table.
ProPlan Live Clear, a breakthrough. 10 years in the making that reduces allergens in cat hair and dander. Outstanding nutrition with the power to change lives. This is Purina ProPlan Live Clear.
You wouldn't accept an incomplete job from anyone else. Why accept it from your allergy pills? Flonase Sensimist. Nothing stronger, nothing gentler, nothing lasts longer. Flonase Sensimist. 24-hour non-drowsy allergy relief.
We love the new apartment.
The natural light is amazing.
Hardwood floors.
There is a bit of a clogging problem.
At least Geico makes it easy to bundle our renters and car insurance.
Yeah, helping us save even more.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
It's a challenging market. Edward Jones is well aware of that, which is why we're ready to listen and ready to help you find opportunity.
So, let's talk.
Edward Jones, it's time for investing to feel individual.
Spectrum Mobile is a better way to mobile. First, we delivered the fastest overall speeds and the most reliable mobile service, coast to coast. Now, we're bringing you 5G, and it's only going to get better. We're extending our network every day so we can offer you the best experience. That means faster speeds, so you can do whatever you want, wherever you are. 5G is here. Spectrum Mobile.
There's no set path, no way you have to be. So why not do what you've been dreaming of? You've got the power, we've got the tools. Make a website with GoDaddy and put what you want out there.
Pain can wear you down, but you're resilient. And Icy Hot No Mess fuels your resilience. Fast-acting, targeted pain relief. Because the deeper you dig, the higher you rise. Icy Hot No Mess.
Is that coming this way? Active tornado warnings in effect.
I wasn't sure that I was going to walk away from the situation.
There just went a house. The roof just get ripped off. We're under fire.
When that came down, I yelled, I don't want to drown in the store. Guys, we've got cars floating again.
Oh my God.
Truly, it was the scariest moment of my life.
Don't miss the premieres of World's Deadliest Weather and Deadline to Disaster, Sunday night, only on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 50 degrees under clear skies. Overnight, some clouds, low 46. Winds north-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday, cloudy, slight chance of a rain shower. High 55. Winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Wednesday night, cloudy with showers. Low 50. Chance of rain 60%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
This is Severe Storm Central. You're watching the Weather Channel. We are watching the skies light up live right here in Texas. In Richardson, Texas right now, we are seeing a magnificent display of some strong storms that have been rolling through Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, here in Texas, now in Texas. Going to be moving through the state of Louisiana, much of the south. It's going to be a long night, and into Tennessee, not too far away from Memphis at the moment. But again, Carl, as we look at this, this camera, this WeatherStem camera, oftentimes with some of the cameras we see at night, it's tough. I mean, technology nowadays is getting better and better. But here we can even see the clouds when the lightning isn't going. And then occasionally we really get a good outline of the clouds and a feel for what's going on. And then we'll see, Carl, some bolts going across the sky, which is an absolutely magnificent display.
Oh, it really is an amazing thing. You know, I've always been fascinated by lightning, you know, maybe a lot more so than most people. I remember years ago, I went up to visit Ottumwa, Iowa. And I saw something like this. It was the, you know, anvil crawlers that were reaching across the sky. It was, you know, after a wedding reception, and I was staring out at the sky and just standing there in front of the reception, just looking up into the sky, and it was slack-jawed. I just could not believe what I was looking at. And all of these Iowans kept walking past me going, "What are you looking at?" You know, because it's standard fare in Iowa. You know, you're used to it. And, you know, I'm sure the same could be said for, wow, look at that. Wow. I love this kind of stuff. I really do. I know it's, you know, very dangerous and you got to be careful and all that, but I do really, really enjoy shows like this. And you just don't get them. You know, I've said many, many times, Chris, that storms that occur in the plains are really different animals. It's just not the same thing that you see in the East Coast.
Hey, Carl, it's funny you say that. I was at a wedding also in Kansas City, and a similar thing with some storms rolling through. Meanwhile, here, Dallas, we are still seeing the skies lighting up, the flashes here, looking beyond the downtown historic district here, and then on the ground, another view, Carl. Look at that.
That is amazing. You know, just such electrical storms that we were looking, you know, just in the Dallas area alone, tracking about 700 strikes in the last 15 minutes. So, you know, this is just that one of those situations where it's nearly constant lightning. And again, it's, you know, maybe not that unusual or that notable for people that live here. But certainly, you know, if you're from other parts of the country, it's just a remarkable thing. It's an incredible thing to see that kind of a light show when it's just constant like that and lighting up everything around.
And I think it's also interesting when you kind of step back and you close your eyes and you think about what's causing this. The atmosphere is so primed to rise. And Sarah was saying that some of these cloud tops are up around 55,000 feet.
Yeah.
That's a lot of vertical emotion, a lot of separation of charges that it's really hard to get your mind around it until you see the display, the result of this magnificent and complicated feat that Mother Nature puts on right before our eyes.
Yeah, you know, this is, as you mentioned, really a function of the amount of instability. We've been talking about the fact that even as the instability is dropping off much farther north up into Kentucky and into Tennessee, the instability is just really, really high in Texas, and that's going to keep these storms going all night long. And right, as you say, when you've got really high instability, you get really tall clouds, and with really tall clouds, a significant part of the cloud is above what we call the freezing level, and the formation of ice is what leads to that charge separation and leads you to get more lightning like this. So it's directly a function of the available fuel, the available energy for these storms, and we'll expect to see this kind of thing going all night long like this, marching right down 35 and down 45.
And what we're looking at right now is not too far away. We're north of Dallas here in Richardson, Texas. So we might be seeing some of the same flashes. And in this case, maybe a little bit closer to some of the flashes. The streaks, Carl, here are fantastic.
They really are. It really is something. And you know, as I mentioned, the instability is really, really high all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And so this is why we think this section of storms is going to keep going for a very, very long time. It's going to drive right down into the Piney Woods there. It's going to drive down 35 and 45 and into Houston, and it's going to wake you up in Houston, most likely in the very early morning hours, probably somewhere around 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning on the north side of the metro, and then continuing down towards the south side of the metro and out into the Gulf Coast there by the time the sun starts coming up. But it's going to be a long night in Texas. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and Sarah pulled up a satellite here to remind us of the explosive nature, too, of these storms, the way they just developed and exploded throughout the day over Oklahoma and over Missouri, and then eventually rocked through Arkansas. And you can see that right here, Carl. This is the enhanced satellite, the infrared satellite. We assign different colors to different temperatures, and the colder the temperature, the higher the cloud. So you can kind of get the vertical sense of the bubbling nature of this, Carl.
Yep, amazing night. And as we mentioned, it's going to keep going for quite some time, and we're going to be here covering these storms right through the night, Chris.
All right, stay with the Weather Channel. This is Severe Storm Central. The threat continues tonight and into tomorrow.
Buick and GMC are here to help. For our customers, that means helping you stay at home. That's why we've made it possible for you to shop online with Shop Click Drive, and you may even be able to schedule your certified service appointment online from home. For our healthcare professionals who are doing so much to keep us safe, we are introducing a special discount to thank you for all that you do. These are unprecedented times. Buick and GMC are here to help.
Now, more than ever, her love keeps you centered. Show her how much she means to you with a gift from the Center of Me collection. Happy Mother's Day from Kay.
The fighting spirit is one we all share. That's why Modelo is donating $500,000 to the First Responders First Initiative to support the workers on the front line against COVID-19. For fighting for us, we raise a beer to you. Modelo, brewed for those with a fighting spirit.
With Dish, you get the Hopper, TV's most powerful DVR. It lets you record up to 16 shows at once. Huh? Why so many?
See you in the morning. Okay, bye, sounds great. Come here.
Because we know more shows can help you make the most of the perfect girls' night in.
Record up to 16 shows at once. Dish, tuned in to you.
There's just nothing better than a plate of Mama's famous pasta. Her recipe, top secret.
Michelina's. Let Mama feed you.
When our daughter and her kids moved in with us, our bargain detergent couldn't keep up.
Turns out it's mostly water.
So we switched back to Tide. One wash, stains are gone.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. It's gotta be Tide.
And Doug.
Give me your hand! I can save you! Lots of money with Liberty Mutual. We customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When the present is unpredictable, it's important to stay focused on the future. Personalized, goal-based financial advice can help you navigate today while still staying on track for your long-term financial goals tomorrow. At Ameriprise Financial, that's what we've done for over 125 years, and what our advisors will continue to do for generations to come. Ameriprise Financial.
Welcome back to our coverage of severe storms and an incredible lightning show in Dallas tonight. Storms coming through, producing 78-mile-per-hour wind in Plano. The worst of that weather is now coming right through downtown Dallas. A huge lightning show. It's going to be going on for a while, but now the worst of the storms on the south side of the metro and continuing to move east. And so here you see the lightning as we look at the entire metro. That is 1,250 51 strikes in the last 15 minutes. An incredible light show, very dangerous storms. Ongoing warning here for Hood and Johnson and Parker counties, as well as Dallas County and points farther south, Tarrant County, Ellis County. And then here is the big bow that produced the 78-mile-per-hour wind, Hunt, Kaufman, Van Zandt counties. That is now coming down Interstate 20 and towards Canton and eventually Gun Barrel City as well. So expect to see some very strong wind along with that. Looking at the instability, this is what is driving these storms, the fuel for the storms. You notice how it's starting to run out here in the northeast part of the line, but that's not the case at all in Texas. This is where the storms are going to be going for quite some time yet, dropping right down through East Texas and eventually into Houston as well into tomorrow morning. Once again, tremendous activity all along this line, and strong storms now coming towards Shreveport as well. There, your live look at Dallas with the ongoing lightning, and we will continue our coverage as necessary throughout the night right here on the Weather Channel.
For expert hunter John Sain, surviving in the remote wilderness is never a problem until it is.
My foot was right up here by my rib cage.
The bones in his right leg have snapped.
My heel just hits a rock and you're like, God!
Nearest hope of a rescue is miles away, and John can barely move 5 feet.
There's no chance. I'm not getting out of here. Do I suffer or just end it?
When you're badly injured and trapped in punishing mountain terrain, is death the only choice? That's where I come in. I'm going to take you through some of the most gripping true life battles for survival. With my team of experts, we will show you how to make it out alive. I'm Creek Stewart, and I teach people how to survive as if my life depends on it.